Welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and for today's episode, I have a fantastic guest for you. One with a conversation that has been crafted and molded into quite possibly one of the best conversations this podcast has had for a fantastic guest I know you guys are going to absolutely love. Today's guest is Hasani Walker, a sculptor, animator, story artist, and writer whose craftsmanship can be seen in some stop-motion masterpieces, all while working on some of his own comics, such as the fantastic Doris Doodle. I first learned about Hasani because of the comic Doris Doodle, which he has just recently made into a graphic novel, which you can buy. It'll be one of the first links in the description below. But I learned about Doris Doodle before I learned about Hasani. And so I wanted to get him on to talk about Doris. But once I learned more about Hasani, I knew really quickly that this conversation was going to be so much better. And it was already going to be a great conversation with Doris alone. But believe me when I say that the conversation you're about to hear, it is a top tier conversation on this podcast. If you enjoy our guest, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. I see that stuff. It genuinely does warm my heart. And I mean it sincerely. Please, if you have not already, please take the time to subscribe to the channel today. I've seen I hate to be the person to bring up the, bars and graphs, stuff like that, but I did see that 75% of the people that watch this stuff have not subscribed to the channel. Sincerely, if you enjoyed the conversations you hear today, subscribe to get to our back catalog of over 250 episodes and wait for some incredible guests that are going to be on here well after this episode. And while you're at it, if you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop at fourthwall.com. We have some amazing designs that's done by some outstanding artists, including the logo that you see at the beginning as done by the fantastic Roshan Galaxy. I sincerely think you would look sensational with it on today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. How's it going, man?
It's going all right.
That's
How about
good.
you?
It's doing really well. It's going great right now. It's a nice, calm day at home or whatnot. Just been relaxing and getting ready for this interview because I cannot tell you how excited I've been to do this. So thank you so much for taking time to even do this.
Here. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm not gonna lie, when I initially asked you or whatnot, I was just excited just to talk about, Doris and Dawn, Doris Doodle or whatnot. But then I looked a little bit more into your stuff. I'm like, wait, you've had a chance to work on this? This is your, I did not recognize your game before I asked you to be on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. I've been on a few projects.
Yeah, just a few, especially with some big names like, a LAIKA or, Nickelodeon and stuff like that, or, Guillermo del Toro. No, but I was already excited to have the conversation just based on the comic alone, but getting to divulge into some of the stop motion stuff and the other animation aspects you've been able to have a hand in or whatnot, it's just icing on the cake at the end of the day. So thank you sincerely for taking the time to even do this in the first place.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I just out of curiosity, before we really do get the podcast going or whatnot, how long have you been doing animation and such?
Well, as in terms of independent stuff, just on my own, I started very early on just wanting to do stop motion, junior high. I have a camera, but I was storyboarding an idea of I want to make Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven into a stop motion film, and I kept it around. And in high school, I actually got an opportunity to do that. So,
oh wow,
yeah, that was my first time doing stop motion. And then I tried getting into a studio for so long. I worked customer service jobs. I worked retail the whole time, going to expos and conventions and pestering them to get into a studio. And it wasn't until my mid 30s that I finally got
oh wow,
sent me a message asking for an interview. Actually, I was LAIKA, and this is actually strange, an interesting part. LAIKA and Sony sent me asking for an interview.
Okay.
And LAIKA, they were hiring in August, and Sony were hiring in November. And I thought like, well, I mean, I'm probably more stop motion, so Leica is probably like, I mean, that's where I wanted to go. So, and it's sooner, so I think I'll go with Leica. That's what I've been trying to get into. So I've moved from Phoenix to Portland to work at Leica.
Right.
While there, I did email the recruiter at Sony, telling her like, oh yeah, well I ended up at Leica, but what were you guys hiring for? And she's like, well, we had a few things going on at that time. We were hiring for this animated Spider-Man movie.
Oh my goodness!
Said, like, oh, I could have been part of the Spider-Verse.
He could have been part of the Spider-Verse. Wow, it's amazing how like the different branches and like different paths go on this weird journey at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with where I ended up. I met a lot of great people. I mean, I got to work with Guillermo del Toro, so yeah, I'm happy where I'm at.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, I don't think I would trade, working Guillermo del Toro for just about anything at this point, especially for something that he cared so deeply about with that Pinocchio film. I mean, my God, like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oof. And I couldn't help but just relate already right off the bat with like you're talking about like I used to work retail jobs and you really get an opportunity to like your mid 30s. For context, I'm currently 30 right now, and like the content creation stuff is kind of the stuff I'm leaning towards. Though I would love to have a hand in like maybe show running or like having an indie animated series at some point in the near future. But like I work a warehouse job, at this point, like, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week or whatnot. So I know that struggle of like having to just power through just to pay for stuff, just to pay your bills and all that stuff at the end of the day, and just trying to grind to get that opportunity, like going to expos and cons and all that stuff like that, trying to get your name out there and such. So I felt that on a personal level.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. It's a struggle, but just keep working at it. If it's something that you want, just go for it.
Absolutely. And thus you're getting opportunities like talking to some random dude out in Georgia to talk about the incredible art you've been able to put down into the world. It's a full circle moment somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Hasani, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations. I shouldn't say desert island, more like a personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit. To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Ooh, I think the one piece, it's hard to decide because I have to decide between either watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I can get into like basically like fall into a pit when I'm watching that, just go over and over again.
Right.
Or actually another movie that I'd watch would be the 90s Super Mario Brothers film, which is such a strange film that I think I can fall. I might actually go for the Mario one because that's just such an awkward thing that could keep me going for a long time.
I'm curious on why that's the headspace you want on your little personal paradise more than anything else. Like, don't get me wrong, there's obviously a good entertainment factor to it at the end of the day, but I'm curious why that's the choice.
Oh yeah. I had to for a while I used to say like, oh, that's not a great film. And then it was actually at Leica where I said something about the film. It's like, like, do I actually like that movie? And a coworker said, yeah, you don't shut up about it. Like, oh yeah, I guess like, it's like such a strange film. Like I'm always like kind of delving into like, and then Bob Hoskins' hand broke and you can actually see it bandaged in the movie. Did you know that? And
oh my God.
These little things. So yeah, I'm like, there's a part of that's kind of obsessed with that strange film.
You know what? I mean, of all the things you could have said, that like with that being the answer, especially like the description, whatnot, like I understand if nothing else with all that time that you have on this island or whatnot, because you're on there as long as you want. I should have said that at the beginning or whatnot, but like you can go through it over and over and analyze it and see like what went right, what went wrong, where are the good creative details and stuff like that. You could be a true expert on the 90s Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah. And I would enjoy that. Just
there you go.
By frames, like all the little hidden things, and why did they make this decision, and why is it like Demolition Man?
Yeah. That's definitely a decision. That's an entire like discussion for like an entire like 5-hour YouTube video essay on. So why did they go with Demolition Man for the inspiration of the world? But regardless, the 90s Super Mario Brothers movie, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
I am. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm positive. That's my answer.
It's a fantastic answer, and it's a fantastic way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You will look fantastic in the merch we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a sculptor, animator, story artist, and writer whose craftsmanship can be seen in some stop-motion masterpieces, all while working on his own comic, Doris Doodle. Welcome to the podcast, Hasani Walker.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to do this once again. I think I've said it like, what, 5 times at this point? How you doing today, Hasani?
I'm doing really good. This is like, I've been looking forward to having this talk.
Oh, good. You and me both, as I kind of illustrated if I leave it in the edit or whatnot, because again, when I initially asked you to hop on this podcast or whatnot, I have been obsessed with Doris and Dawn. Like I found it through TikTok. I saw some of the animations and the stuff you were advertising for it at the end of the day. It was in particular the Lily Allen smile animation that you did with Dawn, where Doris like catches her when she takes the photo halfway through or whatnot. That's what got me hooked. And like, I was initially just loving that alone. I wanted to talk a lot more about it, but then getting the chance to ask you and doing the research, I realized this is going to be a lot more of a conversation than I anticipated. And I am all for it with all the different aspects you've been able to have a hand in. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Hasani. What got you interested in art and animation and stuff in the first place?
I don't think there was ever a time I was interested in anything else. Like as a kid, I sort of like, I was handed clay, and that was a toy that I just like kept playing with, and that became like my go-to. And I would sculpt characters that I loved, and just making up characters, and then watching stop motion films, and realized like, oh, I can actually bring these things to life. And so like Raking Bass stuff, like that was inspiring. And then Nightmare Before Christmas comes along, and then it's like, oh, like not just a special, you can make an entire feature with this. And that really got me going. So that was sculpting up characters from that and trying to come up with my own stories. And it was a while of me just like, I had stacks of paper that were just storyboards of ideas, but I didn't have a camera at the time.
Oh, wow.
To do anything. And it wasn't until high school that I came across in the AV room, there was a case with a camera and some clay, and I asked like, what is this? And they said like, oh, someone tried to do a stop motion film in AV. And I was like, well, can I do that? And everyone thought I was going to give up on it, because I said like, I want to do Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. I'm going to do like a 13 to 14 minute stop motion sword. And it's like, well, you're not going to finish that. And I spent like a full year going into early to school, staying after school. On summer breaks, I'd ask teachers, are you going to be here during the break? Can you let me know if you're here? Because I want to come in and work on this.
Right.
And spent all that time. Made my first stop motion film, The Raven, which is still on my YouTube page. It's very rough, but it was like my first go. But yeah, from then, I kept, that was me like wanting to just make more shorts, tell more stories, and get into an animation studio.
Well, look, as someone that has also posted plenty of YouTube videos, I can always say the first ones are always the roughest ones, but those are also the ones that you look back fondly and think like, if it wasn't for these, I wouldn't be where I am today. And like,
yeah, that's very true.
Especially with a tale like Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, like that's not an easy story to tell, even in the first place, more than anything else. But to tell it in stop motion as well, like that's an entire like another layer of just like difficulty that tests your patience more than anything else at the end of the day. But it's incredible to know that younger you had that like drive and determination to tell that story, just to be like, hey, I could do this. This is what I want to do more than anything else.
Yeah, just went back. There was even a time when the editing got messed up on it, because someone used the computer I was editing on.
Oh no!
And it sort of messed with the sound. And I remember when that happened, I just kind of grieved it for like a week,
Oh.
and then I just went to the rooms like, okay, well, I gotta do this. I gotta finish this. So
Yep.
yeah, back and just trying to like to redo the audio for it.
Oh goodness. I commend younger you and current you's like patience and determination at the end of the day, because that is not, especially when someone messes something that, again, like I imagine at that point you spent most of the year working on it because you're at the editing phase or whatnot. And someone messes up something as simple as audio, like that's ooh, that yeah. Like you said, you grieve for a week. Some people, they would never come back from grieving. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. I figured like, well, what else am I going to do? Like, it's this far. I have to do something with it.
You got to go through with it more than anything else. And I also got to say, I love some of the inspirations that even got you up to that point. Because you mentioned like Rankin Bass and especially Nightmare Before Christmas. I think you and I can both agree that revolutionized stop motion more than anything else, especially with like how the characters were designed and the story that they were able to tell, again, feature length or whatnot, which I think the only one that was even close to feature length at that point was like, again, you said Rankin Bass and maybe some of the Wallace and Gromit stuff, and maybe just like a few independent things here and there.
Party film.
Yeah, the Monster Party film. So like, yeah, I can imagine how that like kind of sparked something in your head to be like, oh, this is something I can actually do. Like this could be my life.
Yeah, that movie, it felt like an event. Like just the first time I saw the trailer, which was on the Lion King VHS tape.
Yes.
And yeah, just like opens up and you see the Disney logo, you see Snow White, and then you see Lion King, and the screen goes black, and then you see Tim Burton walking around the studio, and music chimes in, and you see like Jack Skellington, and seeing that's like, what is this? Like what's going on? Like, oh, like this feature is coming out. Like there's a feature, like there's a full on stop motion feature. It was amazing.
Yeah, what Tim and Henry Selick were doing with that film was definitely something that, again, we wouldn't have what we have today without it at the end of the day. So
yeah, absolutely.
Goodness. So I'm curious. I imagine that next step was probably the Raven film that you were talking about or whatnot. But when did it for you go from like something that you loved and admired and couldn't get enough of and just loved tinkering in to a full-on passion and knowing that this was going to be your career? Was it Nightmare Before Christmas? Was it working on the Raven film, or was it something else to where it more or less clicked that like, this is where I want to be the rest of my life?
I think it clicked very early on. I think even before I did the Raven, I always said like, I'm going to get into animation. That's what I'm going to do. And I remember being in junior high for a little while. I was at like a prep school, maybe for like a month before I actually went to another school that was closer to my house. But when I was there, the kids found out that I could draw. And I remember a group of them said like, well, like when I'm older, I'm going to buy all your paintings. And I told them, well, actually, I want to get into animation. I want to animate. And they looked so disappointed in me.
Why is that the moment that they got disappointed?
Yeah. Like my thought was like, we're kids, like we're supposed to be like into animation, but I guess these are a lot of like, I think there was like kind of a preppy school, so I think these were like kids that their parents wouldn't like let them have a TV, and
right.
And I think when I would say animations, people would be like, oh, like anime films, like you mean like the Smurfs or Scooby Doo?
Yep.
But I was like, or like Where the Wind Blows, things films like that, but. Yeah, if Scooby Doo's where you go to, then yeah.
Also, that's a good cut right there. Where the Wind Blows, because that's not that's a good cut right there. More than anything, it's like if you know, more or less.
Yeah.
Goodness, no, but it's cool to hear that like that kind of love and passion, more or less, to even be in animation in the first place has kind of just always been there at the end of the day, because there are some people, myself included, that have always had that thought of like working in that kind of field, but then you get a little bit older and then you realize kind of how hard it is, and then you try to think more realistically sometimes, or at least some people do. But then other people, it's like, I don't care what it takes, I don't care what I need to do, like this is where I see myself in the future, especially when it comes to stop motion for you, which I know this is like a major emphasis, because it's not easy to do stop motion. I imagine it's probably harder to even get into stop motion in the first place when it comes to, projects and such. Like, what was it about stop motion in particular that made you want to like dedicate yourself for that?
Oh, when I went to an art school, and I was sort of like in between, because I was in the arts and animation program,
right?
But I love just like filming and lighting, and once you're so like, we were kind of like in between, like you're sort of like in animation but also in film, and that's basically like where stop motion is. You're basically making a live action film in slow motion. So you get all the benefits of animation, like creating the world and the sets and moving the characters, but you also get the experience of live action. So setting up the lighting and like everything, like working with like grounded material, and what you see on screen for most part is like it's there. So I I just love the hands-on aspect of stop motion, and that's what really draws me to it. Just what I'm seeing, like we were talking about Night for Christmas, like what you're seeing on screen actually existed, and people like held it in their hands, and
Yeah.
just yeah, there's a magic to that. Just knowing that this thing actually exists.
Yeah, it's always something that you like when you're watching it, you don't really think much of it because of like, you know, obviously the stylistic choices and the fact that it's, you know, known as animation at the end of the day. Like you don't really think about the fact that it's physically there. People actually touched it, moved it, made it to where it looks as stunning as it does at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
it's that, I guess, the tactileness that makes it truly something special. And I imagine that's why you really want, like you had emphasized, that's a part of the reason why you really wanted to be in there. And I imagine, like, again, like you weren't going to let anything stop you, whether it be finding the opportunities or making your own. I noticed there was at least one credit early on that I wanted to ask about or whatnot. I imagine this is probably your own personal project or whatnot. What is this My Bedroom Door project that you had a hand in one form or fashion?
Oh, that is a web series I did a while ago that
Okay.
I've been meaning to get back to for too long of a time. But yeah, that was like after doing The Raven and a few other sorts. God, I was actually inspired by the Lego movie.
Oh,
So I
okay.
saw the Lego, yeah, I saw the Lego movie. There's a scene in the Lego film where Emmett sees like this he sees like the sacred piece, like
Mm-hmm.
the paper glue cap. And in that moment, I thought it was a door that he was looking at. And I'm in the theater thinking, like, what if it was a door? What if there was a door that appears and like it gives you all these like secrets and shows you all your fears and all your dreams all at once? And what would that
Okay.
do? That's where I was like, well, no, I'm gonna watch the movie. I'll think about that later. And after the film, I drafted up an idea that was a girl in her room late at night. A door will appear, but only when she's alone in her room and only at night. And when she's not looking at it, it opens. And when she looks at it, it closes. And that just became I was just kind of doing it randomly just for fun,
Right.
and started to gain a following.
Okay.
And yeah, it became a nice thing. And geez, I hate that the only reason it stopped, I'm still trying to keep it going, but the thing is I got into stop motion studios, and that just kind of, it sort of warped my mind on how to do stop motion, because
Right.
my bedroom door was all just clay and some like baked clay. And I go into Leica and I'm saying like, oh yeah, 3D printing things and silicone and ball and socket armatures. I'm like, well, maybe I can do it like that. So I
Right.
started trying to do it that way, and I was like, well, no, I can't do it like that. And going like trying to find it midway through, trying to bring up that style. And that was also kind of difficult. And I reached the point, actually, I can show right now, because
Oh.
I've been kind of working one of the puppets that I made.
Oh.
Puppet that's in this. So there's one of the newer puppets,
Okay.
which they were clay. This one, once this one breaks down, I'm gonna still do the series. I'm gonna start making episodes, but it's gonna be in clay, so it's like simpler because C is silicone. C has replacement faces. She's basically made with a lot of techniques that I've learned from Leica and Shadow Machine and different kind of projects.
Right.
Air silicone art, like actual like thread line. But yeah, so I'm still working on the series, and God, I feel bad that I still get people asking me about like, when are you going to have new episodes? It's been years. Like, well, I'm trying to get on it, but yeah, it's one that I'm very proud of, and I hope to return to it maybe like in Halloween, have something, or sometime early next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, like we've established with just about everything else when it comes to animation or whatnot, it takes time in the first place to even get the idea out there. Again, you got the idea from watching the Lego movie more than anything else. Yeah, out of all the random places. And that was just getting the idea. That's not even taking the time to actually make the models, make the set, get the idea of what the story is going to be about or whatnot. Like, I can only imagine how long it took to go from like concept to actual like finished product, like put the episode out there. Like, how much of a process was it for you to actually get this idea off, you know, on the ground running?
At first, it was fairly quick because there was just one puppet, and then I was just using a black background and making some quick things from foam core.
Right.
So so it maybe took like gotta think like maybe some weeks to make the first few episodes, and realize that those were just like a minute or maybe not even a minute, like maybe a few seconds to like a minute long.
Yep.
As it went on, I started adding in more characters. I needed like a larger set. There was one time where I was working in a friend's garage, putting things together. And then for whatever reason, I started thinking like, well, what if the door existed through different time periods? So it became puppets, modern day characters, and then characters from like the 70s. So then I needed like 2 different sets.
Right.
And I was in like a 1-bedroom apartment. I was like just surrounded by just like different kind of walls, and it became much trickier to kind of put things together. And I was trying to find ways to sort of condense my sets. And if you watch the series, you'll see that some moments become CG with backgrounds, and that was just me trying to save space. So the more complicated it became so much harder to actually put things together.
Yeah, what started off as, a couple of weeks to take care of a few seconds stuff to a minute became several months of work probably to get a good couple minutes out there with again the different sets and the different characters and all that kind of stuff. But that showcased that same love that you had whenever you were taking the year to make the Raven, at the end of the day, like that creativity or whatnot. Like it does leave me kind of curious as well, because like, look, I'm someone that, as much as I love stop motion, I'm on the outside looking in when it comes to the whole entire process. So what is the process like for you to go from a concept that you have to a finished product, especially when it comes to in terms of stop motion?
It's honestly it's because I've done hand-drawn animation, I've done CG animation. And with stop motion, the time-wise, it's almost the same. It's just that you have to build everything like in reality with stop motion, but the time that it takes to sort of build your sets and start filming and like moving your character like frame by frame, I feel like that that time is kind of equal to setting something up in CG and then having to render it and wait for each frame to render.
Gotcha.
But with stop motion, because with each, like, I think I've found it to be sort of the simpler mode of animation. I know, like, they say like it's like the hardest form of animation, and I can see like, well, yeah, like there's so many elements that come together that can make it that way. But I try to learn like every aspect of it. So like I'm building my own puppets, I'm animating the puppets, I'm editing it.
Right.
So I don't really have too many people in between. I should probably get people in between to probably go much quicker. But
just a little bit.
Just like when I'm animating it, my thought is like, well, yeah, like rendering is just like as fast as clicking a button. It's just taking a picture, and I don't have to redraw the character or redraw elements on each frame. I'm just like moving them bit by bit. So it feels like a faster and more comfortable, like just process to me. And it's almost like therapeutic once you really get into it, because there's like you can't really have any lights, or at least like no like daylights coming in. So just like close out the windows, it's dark and it's quiet, and you're just like, it's just you and the character, and you just move them bit by bit and just getting the motion going. And as you go, you can watch a playback and see where it's moving, and it's just it's constantly satisfying, I think.
Oh no, I can imagine, especially with like the more work you put into it, just kind of seeing literally the steps that got you to that point where you are, at that moment when you take the photo, when you get the pose just right, when you get the action right when it needs to be or whatnot. I get that that almost instant gratification you get when you know that you just nailed it, like what you were hoping for, you got it. It's exactly what you want it to be at the end of the day. And look, and I can imagine for you why you would say it's like the easier one, because it's one that I imagine, especially as you've gone down this path, you've done this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again at the end of the day. Like, the proper techniques or whatnot, but like you have an idea on like how it works. You understand like the flow state or whatnot. It'd be like me trying to explain to you like the interview process when it comes to a podcast or whatnot. Like for me, it's like second nature. you know, thinking about like, okay, doing the research, thinking about the proper questions, how I want to transition from one point to another or whatnot. And like for you, you know, for someone that isn't as well versed when it comes to podcast stuff, they're looking at that stuff, it's like, yeah, but how?
Yeah, it's like the hardest thing in the world. Like, how do you wrap your mind around this?
Exactly. And the fact that doing some of this incredible stuff and especially with the way you've been able to dedicate yourself again with the personal stuff when it came to My Bedroom Door, which I can understand why you've been on a little bit of a hiatus when it comes to putting out new stuff. When it comes to that, it probably has something to do with the fact that you finally get the opportunity to work in the field and work with some of this stuff on a professional level at the end of the day. And I know one of the biggest ones we talked about a little bit in the intro, if I leave that part in or whatnot, but one of the first major opportunities, if not the first major opportunity you got, is to work with the like modern legendary stop motion studio, LAIKA. How did the opportunity even come to you, and what was that experience even like? Because I imagine at the point that we're talking about or whatnot, like LAIKA has at least planted its flag when it comes to like quality stop motion animation.
Oh yes. So like it was because I was watching Coraline and seeing like box trolls, and I thought I was like, yeah, get into that studio. Like I was determined. I wanted to go to Oregon just to kind of walk around and just sort of see what the area is like, because I was determined I was going to like live there eventually. And
manifesting it, that's what we call it.
Yeah. But for a while, to get into the studio, like I had applied, I didn't get any answers, and then I started going to conventions. I went to God, what was the first one? It was SIGGRAPH.
Okay.
So I found out they were going to be at SIGGRAPH, so I went and I met a recruiter there. I showed my work, and after that, I sent an email saying it was great to see you, and then I called them and I asked them, "Are you guys going to be at CTN?" And it's like, "Yeah, we'll be at CTN." Like, okay, I'll be there too. So
good.
Went to CTN. I saw the same recruiter. I introduced myself, and it was like every year I went to CTN and I would look for the same recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And I introduced myself and show what I've been working on.
Right.
And the moment that I knew that I kind of had them or like had their attention was one year I saw her and showed my work, and I was like, oh yeah, like if you have an opening, I'll definitely apply. It's like, okay, yeah, that's great, but the thing is, you don't need to do that like immediately after the convention. We kind of go on break, so you can wait a while to email us. I was like, okay, they know I'm emailing them. Like it's to the point where I'm kind of annoying with them. Yeah.
Oh, here's Hasani again. All right, let's see what he says this time.
Yes. So when I finally got the opportunity, like they sent an email, and it was like asking if I had time for an interview, and that was I was working at sort of a medical facility. Well, not really a medical facility. We made corrective helmets for toddlers.
Oh, okay.
And I basically like was measuring out a kid's skull in a 3D program.
Okay.
So I was just in a desk job in basically a closet doing this, and that's when I got the email from LAIKA, and they saw my animation. It's like, well, you're too green for like animation, but would you like to be in the RP department?
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be in the RP department. And what I didn't know was that the RP department, they called it the sandbox.
Okay.
Because all that we do or did was sand the replacement faces.
Oh, okay.
Tray after tray of replacement faces, and like we sand them. And another thing is that when offered a job, I didn't know if I was going to be full-time or part-time.
Mm-hmm.
So my pay was going to be much lower than what I was getting at the place I was working at called Craniotech.
Okay.
And but my thought was like, I just got to get my foot in the door. So even if I go there and it'll be part-time, I'll live in my car. Like I got to get there. Fortunately, I did get the full-time position, and I had enough savings to just like keep to get a one-bedroom apartment, like a small apartment, and keep going. But a lot of people said the sandbox is like meant to be kind of a dead-end job. Like you don't really get a sandbox. Like you're there and then like you're gone. And I started like, well, it kind of sounded like it was a place for me to go because I kept bothering them. But I was thrilled to be there. And one thing I did, I don't know if we were allowed to. Some people said you weren't allowed to do this, but I wandered around the studio a lot. So
lovely.
Yeah. So like during breaks, I would go over to Armature and I'd introduce myself and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And they would show me, and everyone was always happy to show me what they were doing. So I'd
Yeah.
introduce myself to them, go to the animation area, and if I saw an animator, so like, "Oh, like what's going on here?" And they'd say like, "Hey, you want to see a set?" And they'd show me a set. So I was introducing myself to every department.
Yeah.
And sitting with people, like during lunch, I would go and sit with people and talk to them. So I basically became known. And I started bringing my own sculptures into work.
Okay.
And that helped me get jobs later on because they saw like how fast I was actually producing sculptures. So I was sanding faces, but on my desk, I'd come in like, actually, I can't show pictures, but I can say what I was doing.
Okay.
They would give us test faces just to kind of figure out how to sand their faces.
Right.
And once we were done with the faces, they said, you can do whatever you want with the faces. You just can't take them home. You can like paint them, whatever, put them on your desk. It's fine.
Right.
So I had the face of a character named McVitie from Missing Link.
Okay.
And McVitie, you'll see him. They go to a bar and he's like the bartender. He's like this big guy with a handlebar mustache.
Right.
So I took that face and I made an impression in clay. I took that impression home. I messed around. I messed around with that to make a sculpture. I come in a few days later, and I take the McVitie face and I put it onto this impression I made, and I put a Mario hat on it. So I made him into Mario. And then I pull up. I bring out of my bag a full body to fit him. So I put that on my desk and I put the head on it. So I had McVitie as Super Mario on my desk, and I started to just do that with like each character.
Okay.
And yeah, after a while, like I actually got like I was actually told to kind of stop because we get like people coming in to do tours or like Hugh Jackman would come in and it's like, well, like we don't want like a star to come in and see that you like did something to the character that they don't want, and I was like, well, I'm just making like fun characters, but
yeah.
I had a nice collection, but it was something where I would have animators coming in to RP to sort of see what I was doing to these puppets, and
right.
Yeah, that was another way that I kind of made sure people remembered me.
Yeah, no, I mean more than anything else, it's like what some people would look at as more or less like a dead end, literally like the end of the line. It's like, well, I got my foot in the door and I'm right back out the door. You made that into an opportunity to like make yourself known, to get yourself out there, to let people know like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be in here. I want to do this kind of stuff. And I mean, especially with making basically McMario at that point when it comes like that alone is hilarious. Like that's worth the price of admission. Like if LAIKA ever got an opportunity to work with like, you know, Nintendo for something like that, that's something that they need to bring out. Be like, hey, Hasani, do you have the McMario? Like that would be kind of funny to show that off or whatnot. But like the fact that, again, like you made the best out of a situation, which again, some people saw as literally like, yeah, the point of no return or whatnot. Like, yep, you're here. Congratulations. Go do the pointless sanding. I mean, even then, like for something as incredible as a film like The Missing Link, which I'm going to go on record saying is probably the most underrated LAIKA film, like straight up. Not a lot of people talk about The Missing Link as much, especially with like the amazing atmosphere and the incredible characters that you got a hand when it came to sanding or whatnot. Like it had to be, more than anything else, it had to be surreal to know that like, even if it was just simply, you know, sanding the faces or whatnot, like you had mentioned, you know, getting the chance to see the sets, meet the people, get to know them, get to make your name out there. That had to be surreal to finally have that I am here. This is like welcome to the business moment at the end of the day.
It really was. There were moments when like I even enjoyed having my work critiqued there because like shows like how we're sanding. It's like, well, now you're getting some chatter on this end and you have to improve that. I remember like going into meetings and they would show me a face moving and say like, well, you see how it's like chattering? And I was like, well, yeah, I'll improve on that. And then at the end I tell you, but you know, it's really, it's awesome to see this thing moving, isn't it? Because I just love seeing the character move on the screen. So I was kind of thrilled by like everything I was seeing there.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about characters moving or whatnot. Like I imagine obviously the LAIKA experience was something else, but I think your next biggest opportunity potentially was, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like a step up when it comes to like getting to really see your characters move. And that was you getting the opportunity to be a sculptor for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, the Academy Award winning Pinocchio, I must note. how did that opportunity even come to you in the first place? And again, how surreal of an experience was it to be able to work on something as timeless as this?
That was an amazing experience. It sort of was after Missing Link. The studio, like, they didn't know what they were going to go on to next, and I actually ended up working at Shadow Machine on The Shivering Truth for Adult Swim.
Okay.
So yeah, I got to do sculptures there, and the way I got that job, the head of puppets on Shivering Truth, Miguel Paredes, we were at LAIKA, and at LAIKA they would have an art show. You can like show art in the break room.
Okay.
And I asked if I could do that, so it's like, yeah, sure. So I brought in some sculptures, and I had my work there for like for about a month, or like half a month.
And this is McMario.
I did put him there, and it's like, oh, like, I don't know if you can have that. So I put my own stuff.
At least you tried.
Yeah. But after I did that, it was like immediately after I was like, oh, can I do this again? It's like in 2 months, can I sew my work again? So like, yeah, sure. So I had another sewing in the break room, and it was all new sculptures. Okay. And Miguel saw how quickly my turnaround was on just like sculpting. So on The Shivering Truths, he recommended me to sculpt characters on there. So that's how I got into Shadow Machine. And while at Shadow Machine, we started sort of hearing rumors like, oh, like Guillermo's been talking to the producers at Shadow Machine, and people saying like, oh, like, is Pinocchio going to happen? Because Pinocchio was long rumored to happen, and then it was canceled. Yeah. And we all thought like, oh, yeah, like it's gone. But now we're hearing like, oh yeah, Guillermo's coming up to Oregon, and like he went to LAIKA, like someone at LAIKA, he went to like this other place, and it sounds like he's actually getting Pinocchio going. Because
it's something that I know he had been talking about for ages before actually like being able to announce it, like something he had always dreamed of doing, something that he's always wanted to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when Shivering Truth was going to end, I went to the producer at Shadow Machine, and I told her, I'm like, this is ending. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know where I'm going to go, and I don't know if I'm going to have to go back to Phoenix, but I keep hearing rumors of Guillermo doing something. So I just want to know, should I stick around? Is something happening? And she said, well, I can't tell you what's happening or what's in the works, but you might want to stay in Oregon. So after that, I actually went back to LAIKA, and I had like a small upgrade from RP, from like sanding faces to actually working in the silicone department doing puppets.
Okay.
And yeah, I worked on a project that it's a project that was actually canceled. It's not going to be released, but what we did on it, you'll basically see in Wildwood, like a lot of the art was moved from that project that they were working on and then put into Wildwood, which when I see behind the scenes of Wildwood was like, look, here's the puppets that we're making. And I was like, oh yeah, that's how we were like figuring out how to make puppets on that other project. Like, okay, so this moved everything and put it into that film.
That's wonderful to hear. I was curious about that as well, because I know, because obviously, like, for those that have seen the trailer for it, Wildwood looks like to be something completely, like, even for LAIKA standards, it looks to be something else at the end of the day. And to know that even like the stuff that you had is kind of like the I guess like the skeleton or whatnot, or like some of the foundation for what it eventually became or whatnot. That again, like you said, like it's really cool to know that like, hey, these things I worked on, that they have a hand being worked on in this thing.
Yeah, you're essentially Wildwood, because I know like there's a time between Missing Link and Wildwood, so you're basically seeing the work of two films come together for Wildwood, like a film that they had to stop working on, but everything they did on there, which was like very finite detail on the puppets, and figuring like, okay, like how do we do different types of silicone so that the chest moves like a real person's chest? How do we get the legs so that the legs have like a kneecap? So all of that went into Wildwood. But while I was working at LAIKA, because I was really there to say like, okay, I need to stay in Oregon. I need a job for Oregon. And my thought was like, well, once I get the call from Pinocchio, like if I get there, I'm going to go to Pinocchio.
Right.
And yeah. And while at LAIKA, I got an email, and I was like, I showed it to a few people that like, oh, like they're asking like if I can start on this day. And it was, at first I didn't know like if I should like say anything. And then they said like, no, you should tell the heads at Leica that you're going to be that you have this new position. And I let them know, and I gave them like a 2 weeks kind of notice.
Right.
That was kind of weird because I think they sort of knew Pinocchio was going on. I don't think they were like too happy about it because I gave them my 2 week notice, and then after that, it's like, well, we decided you're not gonna have 2 weeks. You're just gonna be gone at the end of this week.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and there were like a few people that happened to. So yeah. So but like I mean, I had Saddam Hussein lined up and went there, and it was so surreal to move from like just doing silicone, like test silicone. And I was like, oh yeah, well now you're going to be sculpting characters for a feature for Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. And like it'll be like on the big screen, it'll be on Netflix. And like, it was my first time. One of the sculptors I'd worked there, I worked with before, Katie Strutz, another sculptor, Toby Froud, which, I don't know, like, I guess anyone watches, if you're not familiar with Toby Froud, he's worked on a lot of different stop motion films, a lot of like puppet films, and the thing he's most known for is being the baby from Labyrinth. But
I'm sorry, it took me a second because it's like, okay, like it's good to hear that kind of stuff, and then you see the baby from Labyrinth. Oh, that I've heard this story before.
Yeah, he's Brian Froud's kid, and he's an insanely talented sculptor. And just knowing that, yeah, like you're going to be sculpting next to Toby. And I even asked, like, so wait, so I'm actually going to be sculpting next to Toby? Like, that just sounded like pure fan. Like, so you want me? Like, just like me. And I'm going to be sculpting with Toby. It's like, yeah, like your desk is here. It's like right next to him. So yeah, that was an amazing experience. Toby is like, he's great to talk to. We worked on the dog on Pinocchio. Like he sculpted the head, I sculpted the body.
Okay.
So yeah, so there was like, yeah, there's a lot of like sort of side by side work. And yeah, the whole time, yeah, it was a very surreal experience just knowing that we're not just working on this film, but we're working on this film that other people know about and are excited for. Because when you're at Leica is basically like Fort Knox. Like they don't really want people coming in. They don't tell you what's being worked on behind the scenes. Is very secretive.
Yeah.
While at Saddam Hussein and Pinocchio, we had tours. Like schools would come in and they'd like show kids around. So like, this is what we do here, and we'd have like other producers and directors coming in. Like, I want to see what you guys do for maybe like another project. We had Chris Miller and Phil Lord actually like walked through. So yeah, so they like came through looking at us working on the film and telling us this is all exciting, and then going online and people asking like, yeah, like this Pinocchio thing, like here's like some new images coming from it. So it was just it was crazy to just know that there's this film that people are like waiting for and are excited for, and that he had a hand in it. That and now the film is out, and it's crazy to look at the Criterion Collection cover.
Yeah.
And on it has two of the marionettes, Columbina and the Devil. Mm-hmm. And those were characters that I sculpted for the film. And just seeing them on the cover, that's just like, it's crazy to go into a store and just pick up the Blu-ray and just to look at that.
Yeah. Like it's one of the probably many moments that you probably had of just thinking like, I've made it. Like, this is the thing that I've always dreamed about. Like the thing that like I've wanted to have a hand in. Now here it is, characters that I helped literally sculpt, make it look the way that Guillermo had and the team had wanted to see it or whatnot. They are there on the cover so that people know and love it and appreciate it more than anything else. Like that, if there is ever a time where I can truly say this is a full circle moment when it comes to your career, this is that moment. This is the very biggest moment of like something that you had a hand in a field that you've been dying to work in or whatnot. This is your reality. This is what you've been working for. Legitimately, I can understand why it's kind of, again, like a surreal, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is actually happening moment.
Because I feel like that if I was a kid, like those marionettes would be something I would watch the film. I was like, oh, like, yeah, I want to sculpt those. And it would be like an inspiring thing. And now it's like, I'm involved in that. Like there might be like people like kind of watching it and feeling the same way. And yeah, it's great to just be involved in that. That and Guillermo like I mean, he wasn't on set a lot,
Right.
but I wanted to be. He actually bought a place, I think, somewhere in Oregon to be here.
Right.
But I don't think he has that anymore because while we were working, like the pandemic happened,
Yeah.
so everything became Zoom calls.
Yeah.
But he was extremely friendly to work with. Like he was always like always hopeful, always had great advice. And along with him, there was Mark Gustafson, who unfortunately passed away. He was the second director, so he was always on set, and he was terrific also. So everyone was just really fantastic to work with. Like I don't think like I can't think of like any kind of like drama that would happen, which is kind of crazy because I think even at Leica there'd be like drama now and then. But yeah, and on Pinocchio, like there may have been like frustration just trying to get something to work, but
Right.
it was just a very it was a friendly crew. It was a great like I loved going into work each day and just seeing what we were coming up with and seeing the like the new like animation tests for Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great time.
I mean, and you said like if there was any sort of frustration, it's just trying to make something work, which I imagine is probably the case for any stop motion thing. It's like, how are we gonna make this character fly, or how are we gonna make this character, like do a limbo or something like that? Like the simple stuff that like it would be simple if it was a live action thing, but in stop motion, you're figuring out like how to move and pose it to where it looks natural, which is not easy to do.
Oh, I'd say the hardest one on Pinocchio was definitely Carlo.
Gotcha.
Which I mean, that sounds crazy because Carlo is like he's in the film for such a short amount of time, but because he was meant to be like the heart, he's like the character that Geppetto misses and he's trying to bring back. He was meant to look as close to being like a real person as possible. So his rigging had to be like very precise.
Yep.
There was one person, Peggy, an animator, who she sort of figured out how to animate Carlos like just perfectly so that he seemed like he was like a small kid and moved away Guillermo wanted. But it was so hard to get him to work and to make sure that his silicone was looking clean. I think we were like close to done with the movie and we were still doing repairs on Carlos for scenes, and we were just thinking like, why are we still messing with this puppet? He's supposed to be dead at the beginning of the movie, but we're still working with this puppet.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. No, that frustration is extremely valid at the end of the day. I mean, again, like you said, you were almost done with the film. It's like, God, this kid, like, why are we still dealing with it? But
I kind of think of because like I could definitely emphasize with the stories on Gremlins when I found out the people on Gremlins hated Gizmo because he was like the hardest one to work with because he had to be cute.
Yeah.
But the other ones would be like kind of ugly, so it could just be kind of fun moving around. But Gizmo always had to like look good and he had to look cute, so he was frustrating. So yeah, Carlos was definitely our Gizmo. He was the poet that's like, oh, I'm gonna be glad when this character just kind of dead and we don't have to do this anymore.
Try to think about that when you watch Pinocchio next time, people. No, I do have to ask, at least when it comes to Pinocchio or whatnot in general, like we've emphasized or whatnot, like you got a chance to make like literally sculpt the characters that people got to see and fall in love with or whatnot. Is there a personal favorite sculpture, or at least a personal, like the one that you're proudest of when it comes to like concept to bringing it to reality? Like, is there a sculpture for Pinocchio that you just love and can't get enough of, the fact that you got to do that?
I would say that would have to be Puntanello.
Okay.
Who was the third like several from like Columbina and the Devil. Like those were great to work with, and I liked doing Columbina with her too. She had like two faces on like either side of her head.
Right.
But Puntanello, I didn't get a turnaround for him.
Okay.
So I just got one image, and it was a front image, and he had like this design that had like this hook mouth, and then like a nose went over that mouth, and there was no direction on like how that was supposed to work, but he was supposed to still move like a puppet. The mouth should open, it shouldn't get in the way of the nose. So I was basically handed that and told like, okay, see if you can figure this out. So yeah, so that puppet on screen, like for the most part, that is the closest one that I had like complete just control of this. Like, okay, like this is completely like I need to figure out how this one's going to work and how he's going to move, because of the design is very much like a Picasso kind of thing.
Right.
And yeah, and it works, and like just seeing that, like, okay, like I got it working, like it's moving, like it looks good. So yeah, like I think that's the one I'm happiest with.
Oh, I can imagine. Like it kind of emphasized again, like all you had was a single image. It was about as much of being in a literal sandbox compared to the Leica sandbox when it comes to like how to sculpt it, how to make it work the proper way that it does. I can see why that's like your proudest one, because you look at it after the fact and you're like, I actually made this work. Oh my goodness.
Because yeah, he is basically like, from a 2D drawing, and his face was just like made for 2D, and
Right.
just being told like, okay, got to bring that into 3D, just figure it out. And like, okay, yeah, I did it. Like, yeah, like that's like it's really rewarding.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I also got to bring up, like, again, I imagine that was also a really cool experience. But there's one other opportunity that you had that I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention it for my friends who are huge fans of this as well. But how did you get the opportunity? I imagine after Pinocchio, how did you get the opportunity to work on the Tiny Chef show?
Oh, yeah, the Tiny Chef show that came actually after another show I did, In the Know, which is a show on Peacock, which I came on and I did some sculptures for. So if you watch the show, Will Ferrell has a guest appearance, so his character I got to sculpt him.
Okay.
Yeah, on the Thanksgiving episode, there's like the character, like his son shows up, so I got to sculpt the son. And on Pinocchio, I became known for being able to sculpt parts of clothing really well. So pretty much all the characters, most of the suits in Pinocchio are sculpted by me. And
Okay.
I think nearly all the suits, actually, yeah, I think all the suits on In the Know are sculpted by me.
That honestly, I was like, honestly, that makes sense, because for those who don't know about the show, it's about a person being, what was it, the third most popular public radio host or whatnot, and interviewing in the most weirdest interviews that you could have on public radio or whatnot. It's one of those shows that like I've seen and I've wanted to take the opportunity to sit down and watch it. If nothing else, like the animation, the stop motion that you guys were able to have a hand in or whatnot, it looks incredible, especially for a Peacock show at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, we were basically using exactly what we had done on Pinocchio to use on that show, and
Okay.
all the puppets are ball and socket armatures also, which is like kind of unheard of for a TV show.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of detail and motion. But while working on that, I did the sculptures, and then like once the sculptures were done and they had been molded, like my job was pretty much complete after that.
Right.
But then they needed someone in. They needed a story revisionist. Like they were, I guess, like they just needed more help in story.
Mm-hmm.
And someone brought up my name because at that time I had been posting. I think it actually started on Shivering Truth. I started just posting comics online and just like in a day. So, and everyone that I was working with had seen this. They said like, oh yeah, like he's producing these stories. Like every day he has like 9 to 10 pages. So
I wonder if this is going to come up in a little bit, potentially. Just saying.
So Jennifer Hammondtree, who was working in puppets, like in a meeting, she brought up my name. She's like, "Oh yeah, Hasani, he can do story. Like he's like always like drawing. Like he knows how to do this." So I got a trial. Like they let me do like a little trial thing for a board in the Know.
Mm-hmm.
They liked my work, and then they had me come in as a story revisionist on In the Know. And while doing that, like I became known for doing story art, but like being really fast at it and still like bringing in like quality work, because I guess I had been drawing like 10 things a day. So I was well practiced. Like, oh yeah, like I can do it. Like quickly draw. So then on the Tiny Chef soap rolls around, I was like so quick from being finished on In the Know. I think it was like maybe a month later that I got an email asked like, oh, can you come and do story revisions on the Tiny Chef show?
Okay.
And I think it was like a week or two of me doing revisions on the Tiny Chef show that they then said like, okay, well, feel like you're doing really good work. Do you want to just like be upgraded to like a story artist and you'll get like full episodes? So I went from just revising boards to getting like full on scripts. So there's like full episodes that I got to like board on my own. And I was still known as like, oh yeah, like he produces like quick work. There was like a joke of if you give Hasani a note while you're giving a note, he'll probably be done by the time you're done giving him the note.
I mean,
But yeah,
of all the reputations to have in an animation department or whatnot, that's probably gonna be one of the best ones. The fact that you work fast enough that whenever you're given something, it's like, all right, here you go. Here's also 10 others you need to follow afterwards or after the fact.
yeah, because I mean, it was like, yeah, just I absolutely loved drawing on that, and yeah, like I mean, while I was boarding, if I was like waiting for notes, I had like an iPad out so I could just like draw a random thing. So I was like never stopping. But yeah, the Tiny Chef show, it was a great experience. Also being the creator of Tiny Chef and Nickelodeon like coming down and meeting with us, and
Yeah.
Along with that, just seeing the following for the show and the character.
Oh yeah.
And like seeing him in like a Super Bowl ad, and I believe like that was filmed at Shadow Machine. Just like, oh yeah, like we were a part of this character. So that was, and I think it was like of all the things I've worked on, it's probably the friendliest thing I've worked on also. So that was like, it was an interesting change of going from like sort of darker, more intense stories to like, oh no, this is a Nick Jr. kind of thing. Like it's a very friendly show, and yeah, just seeing how that worked. So yeah, it was really enjoyable.
No, absolutely. I know whenever I saw the Tiny Chef credit or when I had to ask about that because I only recently became familiar with the show earlier this year. Like I'd seen like little clips when it comes to Tiny Chef stuff, like, you know, during its run or whatnot. But like I took a trip with a bunch of buddies up to Baltimore in January, and the entire time they were watching the Tiny Chef show because it was wonderful. It's a lovely like Tiny Chef would probably make. It's like a warm bowl of soup at the end of the day, but just like how comforting it is at the end of the day. And like also to see, like, for example, you know, like the celebrities that are like the bigger name talent getting involved to interact with Tiny Chef, you know, the fun little like segments and like the interactions with like the other characters and whatnot. Like you guys really did craft something incredible with that. And it's good to know that like for you, there are full episodes that you're responsible when it comes to that. And that's incredible to know at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, if you see like there's a episode Ruby Tart, that's one of my episodes. So
there you go.
yeah, I know there's like another one where they're making tortillas for Bonzo. So that's a cool one. But yeah, it's there was one board I'm very proud of, and that's so that there's an Is It Cake episode.
Right.
And that wasn't one of my episodes. It's that was Grand Annabelle, but I got to come in and like work on some of the scenes. And one that I did was when Seth goes downstairs he's looking for something. He sees Bonzo in a corner, and he becomes Cake. I got to board that, and the way I boarded it was like, yeah, I want to board this like a full on, just like a horror scene. So, and when I saw that, it was like, oh yeah, they pretty much got like what I had on there, which was just like, yeah, Steph walked down and then like pan over, and there's Bonzo like in the corner, and it's just like this kind of close up on Steph and close up on Bonzo, and like a tense kind of moment. It's like reaching, and his hand is shaking, and I to like God, I need to take that scene, and because I told him like, oh, I want this scene on my room, but I want it in black and white.
That is brilliant more than anything else at the end of the day. But also I gotta say, when it comes to the Tiny Chef show as well, you gave an entire generation trauma as well, or maybe not you in particular, but that show in particular, when it got canceled and then the clip went out there of Tiny Chef being like realizing that he got canceled or whatnot. Oh, yeah. That killed people. Like that crushed so many souls to see Tiny Chef just break down like that. But it's also good to see that like the creator is still like trying to do stuff here and there with it at the end of the day. So Tiny Chef lives on, people.
Yeah. That was unfortunate because we were all like, after Tiny Chef was done, we were all waiting to work on the next season. So
right.
Yeah, like they're saying like, oh yeah, like get ready. Like they had ideas for what the next season was. We were kind of like drafting up like what new episodes, like we heard like scripts were being written, and yeah, when we got the word like, oh yeah, like it's not going to happen, it's been canceled, that was a huge shock, because for a lot of us that was supposed to like carry us to like to more work,
right?
And that was like a moment when I guess all these like weird deals were happening in Hollywood, and I guess they're still kind of going through. And
yep.
The thing with Tiny Chef, that was, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the whole Nickelodeon thing, because it wasn't, Nickelodeon wanted more episodes. Like they were telling us, yeah, like we want more episodes. They were really gearing up for it. They saw what we were doing. They were excited for new episodes. We kind of got caught up in the whole Warner Brothers Paramount being bought kind of thing.
Yeah.
So money for Tiny Stuff episodes kind of went to purchasing Warner. So yeah, so that like Nickelodeon basically like, yeah, we're sorry, but like we can't. Yeah. Like we're not going to do this. So I was like, oh, it was very disappointing because I was looking forward to what we were going to take. I think the idea was to take Seth in another season to actually take him out of the stump more often.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would have like seen him actually like going into like other places more as the show went on, but yeah, we didn't get the chance for that.
Kind of like what the creator did after the fact with the sponsorship with was IKEA, I think it was, or whatnot, like having Chef in like a scenario kind of like that or whatnot. Like that would be great, but gotta love those mergers, people. Oh, yeah. Oh goodness. I mean, it sucks too, because I can tell, especially from what you were talking about right there or whatnot, like it seemed like just a really cool, fun, creative place just to, you know, have some silly ideas. Again, like you were able to sneak a horror scene into a kid's show essentially with the Is It Cake episode. Not many people can say that on, at least when it comes to modern stuff. I'm sure if you looked at like Courage the Cowardly Dog, it's like that's just a weekly basis for us. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Oh yeah. Like yeah, I think like it's like in a Nick Jr. thing, I think it's a little bit harder to. So, because God, in that there was like I was even trying to put in like homages to David Lynch in that episode. There's a few other scenes like I think I add things in. There was one thing I put in that was going to be a little more Lynchian. When I saw how they like, okay, they made it a little more playful. I was like, that's probably for the best, because I was kind of like Bonzo keeps like asking for like the bean cake that they're making, and as he keeps like popping in to like ask, I started like showing him like popping in and it getting like kind of creepier. Yeah. So whenever I got to see him, like, oh yeah, like could you like add on to this? Like, yeah, then I would like have him just kind of like show up on screen and just like a tilted close up on him. Like, yeah, like really just like it's a paranoid kind of thing. And watch like, oh no, like they made it's more playful, it's more fun. Like, yeah, that's probably the best call, because I was kind of making Bonzo every time I got a scene, I was kind of making Bonzo a little more like almost like a paranormal thing that they're dealing with.
Like after a certain point, it like shows up and Bonzo's got like the cheeks filled like from Eraserhead or whatnot, but it's like the bean cake batter or whatnot for the cheeks or whatnot. It's like it's coming along well.
Yeah, if I wasn't stopped, I probably would have gone that far. But yeah, at least I got the in the stairs and Bonzo's cake moment, and they're very happy with that.
Oh no, that's absolutely great. And again, I kind of teased it a little bit earlier, but like you're getting all these cool, incredible opportunities working in the studio and finally getting to that point at the end of the day. But somehow throughout all the chaos of all this, with all the chances to actually work and the corporate mergers and all stuff like that, you've also made sure to take some time for yourself and put out some incredible stuff, even some that aren't even in the stop motion field or whatnot, especially when it comes to comics and such. I'm curious, what is it about comics and web comics that kind of drew you to actually creating something and putting it out there into the world? Because I imagine, you know, working in animation alone probably takes a lot of creativity, or at least a lot of effort out of you in the first place, but getting a chance to also on the side put out your own comics, what even inspired to do that in the first place?
Well, I sort of feel that just the need to kind of create never really goes away. I know there's people I talk to that they sort of like turn it off once they leave the studio, but to me it's something I always want to be doing. And with the comics, because I had posted small comics online before, I've done like little stories before, but the way I started doing comics, that really started with a joke I made at LAIKA, where we were in RP and someone started handing out stickers to everyone. They had these put our stickers on the desk, and the stickers that I got a Mickey Mouse sticker, a Goofy sticker, and a duck sticker. That was just like a realistic duck.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started just commenting to a friend I was working with that what if like they had like an actual duck, and I went to this sort of like Hitchcock idea of Mickey gets like a pet duck and how it freaks out Donald, and he goes into this whole kind of like sort of like this vertigo sort of
kind of like existential dread of like wondering like what's going on, what is this, what am I?
yeah and that one more like he kidnaps the duck, and it became like this weird kind of like a dark kind of joke. Yeah. And making it into a comic, I was just like, I think I'm going to tell the story. So the first comic was basically the idea of what I was telling my friend. As it went on, I started doing free writing, which is, I never had a plan for the story. It was just like, I wrote it, and actually I would actually just like draw the characters full on emotions and then put into lines, figure that out. And I was doing that daily. I always thought like I should like prepare this ahead of time, but it became like after work, I'll make this and then I'll post it the next day.
Right.
And seeing how the story evolved, and it went from this idea I first said like, yeah, it's like a dark kind of thriller, and it became like this existential drama of just like looking into life and actually having like a relatable questions, which I didn't intend, but that just came out naturally. And I loved how that went. And once I was done, I started getting into the habit of like, okay, I kind of want to do this with another character. So I went to Night Before Christmas, like a story that I love. And my thought there was like, well, what question do I want to answer? My question was, what if Sally didn't have Jack? Like, what if like out of her window, Jack wasn't there and she had to find her own path? So I wrote a story about the events after Night Before Christmas,
right?
Where it's basically like Sally sort of like looking at her life, and so she's like, well, she was like with the doctor, and she was just like under his roof, and now she's with Jack, and now she's like doing things for Jack, and it's like, well, now she's kind of figuring like, well, what am I doing for myself? And she goes on this journey to sort of like see where would she be, and that was another free writing thing where I didn't know where it was going to end. Like part of my mind, like, oh yeah, so end up like she's going to be a rock star, but it ended with her like ending up in New York, and she's like this she's a seamstress, and she's like the stitching queen. So that became another just like a dramatic story, but I guess that just became my writing style, just like fantastic characters, but like relatable in relatable situations.
Which I have to say real quickly, when I was doing my research, I saw that comic or whatnot. The clay figure that you made for like the cover or whatnot is absolutely stunning, by the way. Like you really nailed that. Like your own interpretation of Sally is fantastically done more than anything else.
Thank you. I made that while I was at LAIKA. That was another thing that like while working during breaks, I was sculpting up like my take on Sally, and I'd go into the paint department. And actually I even, that's how I met Georgina Haynes, who is the head of puppets now. Actually, she's head of puppets on Pinocchio.
Okay.
But like I met her because I didn't have a big enough oven for the sculpture. So I actually went into her office and I was like, hey, can I use the oven here at LAIKA to bake this? And later she told me that like she thought like that was really interesting that I just came up and I just asked, because she's like, not a lot of people just kind of go around the studio just like asking for things. And I just went into her office like, hey, like I have this sculpture. Is it all right if I just use like the studio equipment to do this? And yeah, so I guess like so that was a great introduction. But yeah, that sculpture was made there and fully painted, and now it sort of became the start off for where that comic was gonna go. So the sculpture was made before the comic, but the idea was kind of
okay. No, I mean, like I said, like it looks absolutely stunning. If people have not seen it, I'm gonna have it flashing whenever I mention it in the video version, obviously, so that people can see it. But like, you guys need to take the time to read that comic. Some of the other ones that you've been able to do as well. I saw that you had a Powerpuff Girls comic as well. I assume as the girls got older or whatnot. You also have this one that got my attention, which you actually did a Kickstarter that got funded for, the 100 Acre Kingdom. I need to know. I need to know about this just right off the bat. What is the 100 Acre Kingdom?
Oh, that was a story. Oh, actually, I came up with that even before LAIKA. There was a thing called Sketch Dailies, which they would like give you a topic online and you sketch it, you post it online, and if they saw it and liked it, they would put it on their website. And one day the topic was Piglet. Okay. So I remember like seeing a lot of people drew, like there was someone that drew Piglets like Hannibal Lecter. There were a lot of like fun Piglet things.
I took a drink at the wrong time hearing that, because I was envisioning you were gonna say like, I see people drawing piglets, like the cute little piglet that you anticipate. No, Hannibal Lecter's the first place you go. I'm like, oh goodness.
People like that was a great website. Like it doesn't really do anything anymore, but yeah, like the topics were great. Yeah. But when I saw that, I thought, like, well, what am I gonna do with Piglet? And I drew a picture of Piglet holding a bow and arrow, and he's like riding on like a large grizzly bear, and there's like this girl that sort of looks like Christopher Robin, and the note I put on her was that Chris Robin's daughter is a little more adventurous than he was. And that got like sketch. They saw that, they reposted it, and they got a lot of likes. And I asked them, would anyone want me to add on to the story? And people was like, yeah, like we'd have to hear more. So I started just making more just little paintings and sort of writing out a story to it. And I added to that for a little bit, and then I stopped around the time I got to LAIKA, and I told someone at LAIKA about it, and she's like, "No, you should finish that." So I thought, like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and complete this 100 Acre Kingdom story. So I wrote it all the way through, did all the artwork, and yeah, had it completed. It was on Tumblr, and I think I had it on Instagram at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I just kind of like put it away as just like this thing of like, okay, so that story's done.
Right.
And then years later, Winnie the Pooh becomes public domain. And I'm
Right.
seeing people doing all these like Winnie the Pooh things. And I think someone liked my past post on 100 Acre Kingdom. And that's when I asked online, just like I asked before, like, would anyone want to see a book of the 100 Acre Kingdom? And he was like, yeah, like you should make it into a book. Like, okay, I'm going to make it into a book. And the thing is, the difficulty of making it into a book was when I did the sort of fan fiction online, it had a lot of Disney influences in it.
Right.
So if you saw the artwork, yeah, I try to make it seem like a film that Disney would have made. So if you see the artwork, you can see like little like hidden Mickey Mouses in the background. There's like a character that kind of looks dressed like Pinocchio, and along with that, I had characters like Gopher and Kessie from the Disney shows were in the book.
Right.
And of course, I was going to publish this. I realized like, well, yeah, I can't have those. So I started from scratch and I started rewriting the entire story. I still had the basic of the story,
Right.
but rewriting everything, changing the characters, like taking out Gopher and I put in like a badger instead. So I could still have it close. And the hardest thing, but it was also kind of the funnest thing, I had to change all the artwork. So instead of having look like a Don Bluth Disney style story, I got a lot of references of the original Winnie the Pooh books.
Right.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings artwork, and I just started trying to do something that was in between Winnie the Pooh and Lord of the Rings to get a nice sort of like an old style, like a vintage style artwork in it. So you get all the cross hatching on the characters, you get all this detail, you get it's meant to look like a book that can sit side by side with Winnie the Pooh. So you could read Christopher Robin's story, and then you get this other book that's about Christopher Robin's daughter and her inheriting his toys and the world she makes, and where he was influenced by like Jane Austen and like Little Women and like that time after war where things are becoming more peaceful.
Right.
She's more influenced by like The Once a Future King and stories of like adventures and Robin Hood. So she creates like this huge fantasy world of like knights and castles and large monsters. And I was able to make something that was an epic story while also just like the comics I was doing, having a lot of heart. So it's this relatable story that's about like imagination and what it does for us and what it's like when you're sort of growing up and needing to like leave childhood things behind.
Exactly. And like the way that you put that vision out there, first off, like, again, I was just amazed with the fact that someone actually thought, what if we made Winnie the Pooh epic somehow? But the way that you did that, not only was just like the original concept itself on Tumblr and such, but like going back into it and recreating more or less like the classic style that you would imagine with like the classic Winnie the Pooh books or whatnot, while also adding kind of the fun, like, fantasy adventure elements to make it seem like something that seems like a fever dream for anyone that has no idea what we're even talking about in the first place. You did a really good job really illustrating that and putting out like a really full, complete, fun vision of again, something that for most people is like their comfort. You made it epic.
And I did try to keep like in touch with like the original Winnie the Pooh. So I didn't want to like feel like I was betraying the character. So
right.
Reading it, yeah, like you still get the essence of it. There's still like this comfort to it along with like this epic kind of vision. It's just that you're seeing it through another mirror, but it's something where if you love the Disney's animated Winnie the Pooh, if you love the original story, the original book, this is something that I don't think like it betrays it. It kind of like works right alongside it. And if you enjoyed those, this fits right into it. It's just like another page in the lives of those characters.
Yeah, this is like you have the original Winnie the Pooh. This is more like a more mature, but not a completely like, you know, R-rated romp or anything like that. Like it's just a fun little addition to what you already know.
Yeah, it's like moving from the sire, and then you're going into the world of like more into like the adventure. So like first, like, oh yeah, like Winnie the Pooh, that's like you with hobbits, and it's a very peaceful thing. But then the Hungry Kingdom was like, okay, this is like Lord of the Rings. You're going off and you're seeing like more of this world, and it's like the adventurous parts of the Hobbit. So that's where it goes into.
There you go. There you go. And I imagine the experience from that, as well as the other comics that we talked about, kind of led to quite possibly what some people, at least online, would probably know you best for these days. And it's the thing I've been wanting to talk about so badly. What, for those who do not know, you are the person behind the wonderful comic idea, concept, or whatnot. That is Doris Doodle. Now, for people that have no idea what in the world I'm even talking about in the first place, first off, how dare you? I'm joking. But how would you describe Doris Doodle for those that have no idea what we're even talking about?
It's a Roger Rabbit-esque story. So it is like cartoons living in the real world, but it's sort of a grounded take on it, which,
Right.
like I said, or the sort of relatable essence I like having in stories. So it's like, what if these characters did exist, and what kind of repercussions would that have? What kind of lives would they really live? So, yeah, it's that world with a lot of history added in and a lot of lore. And we follow one character from the 1940s just trying to reclaim her fame, but also facing just the tragedies that are of Hollywood, just in this fictional world, but really reflecting like real life, just the real life dangers of entertainment.
Absolutely. Which is, I mean, you say Roger Rabbit, people are already interested, and then you say grounded Roger Rabbit, and people are gonna be like, how does that work? That's like it's something that you don't really think about, but also like the more people think about it, be like, you know, I can see how it works at the end of the day, especially getting the chance to really dive in and read the adventures that you've put out more or less at the end of the day. How did this concept even come to you in the first place? Like, what was the inspiration and the ultimate fire to make this thing a reality?
Oh, well, I always loved Roger Rabbit. That was a huge film for me. Along with Night Before Christmas, that's a film that I would constantly watch. But the character of Doris, that was something when I was during my off time at LAIKA, because I was drawing like a lot of monsters and dark characters, and I just wanted to see if I could draw something different.
Right.
So I drew a character that is called the Toon Princess,
Mm-hmm.
and I did like a turnaround. I did some expression images of her, and I just kind of put that aside. It's like, oh yeah, like that was fun. Like I see I can do a different kind of style. And I didn't look back at that for a while until after I did the Night Before Christmas comic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I want to do another story, but I don't want to focus on another main character.
Right.
And I really want to do a Roger Rabbit thing, but I didn't want to tell Roger Rabbit's like a sequel to that. I didn't want to tell Jessica Rabbit's story. I just wanted to do something like, well, there has to be more to that world. I wanted the story within that world.
Yeah.
And I focused on questions I had that I got from the movie Roger Rabbit. And one quote that like always gets me, it's one that Jessica Rabbit says, where it's I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way.
Yeah.
That sticks with me. And I remember hearing about a sequel to Roger Rabbit that was going to have it where you find out who his dad was. Like, oh, his dad was actually Bugs Bunny, and they were going into like how he left this small farm to go into Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking like, but she says he's drawn that way, so there's an artist involved in this. Like, there's some sort of a method of them being made.
Right.
And along with that, another small inspiration. I keep forgetting that I saw this around the same time. There was a Foster's Imaginary Friends comic that I heard. I think I may even seen it on like crack.com or something like that. But all I remember is that the whole idea is that some kid meets Frankie and he thinks that she's like wonderful. So his imaginary friend becomes Frankie. He like makes another. Yeah. And seeing that, like, well, how dangerous is that you can like make someone that's like, just make this person, not just like make someone that's like a clone of someone, but you basically make life. And where does that go? Yeah. And I started putting that into Roger Rabbit, which was like, well, what does it happen when you have these characters that come to life? So I started it was another thing. Like I was still doing like free writing. Like that's just a habit of mine.
Right.
So I did the first idea of Doris. I just drew this cartoon character. Like, oh yes, he's this forgotten cartoon character, and she had this old show, and she wants to get back into Hollywood. And I just started drawing from that and just like where I thought the natural progression would go to, along with like going into the past and sort of seeing getting an idea like, okay, like, well, what would have like stopped her from being in Hollywood? I was pulling from like TipsyJHearts and other people in Hollywood, their stories.
Right.
And it grew into this very, well, yeah, like this very real story of the struggles of fame, the abuse that happens in fame, and all through this lens of a cartoon character, but never taking to a point where it's like I'm making a joke of these issues. I'm actually kind of showing them in a realistic manner that people can identify with. But yeah, that was something that I God, that was my longest comic at the time, and I was working on that while I was at Pinocchio.
Yeah,
and I remember Toby, because he was reading it, and the pressure of that comic, because I remember he actually said like, "Oh, I wonder what's going to happen to Doris in the next one." And so like, I need to figure that out because like I don't know. When I get home, I take the comic, I can post it tomorrow. Like even Dawn, she came in just through like just naturally in the conversation of the comic. So I didn't have a design for Dawn when she's mentioned in the book. Okay. It was just like, okay, they're going to want to reboot Doris. How does that look for a cartoon character? And then it's like, okay, well, what if they make like another reboot of her? It's like, because she's not going to, the way the characters were like, well, she's not going to fully redesign herself. So then the idea came like, well, I guess they would make a reboot. So I wrote that and posted it. And I was like, okay, I need to draw up like, what does a reboot of her look like? And there's like one comic, I think, where she's kind of discussing about like, how they're making this new character. Like, oh yeah, like we'll bring her over tomorrow. And at that time, I was still kind of figuring, okay, I need to figure out how it's just going to look. So I like drew some like quick thing like, okay, what does young Doris look like? Okay, what does young modern Doris look like? And I like if you read the comics, you'll see that the character designs in the original ones do sort of change, and that's because like when I first draw them, that's me just kind of like just. First draft, like, okay, that's what I came up with. And then I get more comfortable as I go on, like, okay, I'm finding the character. And when it ends, you can see like, okay, it's a kind of a different design because it's like, yeah, this is like where they sort of landed. This is like, if I actually spend like months doing turnaround, that's where I would have came up with.
Yeah. You said that like this stuff is free writing anyway. So it's like, you're kind of just making it up as you go, which I mean, leads to some incredible opportunities. I mean, more than anything else, like some ideas really coming out of nowhere that you might have not thought of. Like if you hadn't done the free writing and you took the time to think about it or whatnot, who knows how the designs would have looked. They could have looked radically different than what we kind of saw, instead of like you taking the chance to like chip away at it little by little, like in real time, people seeing that kind of stuff. Probably wouldn't get as many copyrighted characters into it like we kind of did, like we did with the final book. But you know, that got corrected after the fact, which I couldn't help but chuckle a little bit when you had mentioned with 100 Acre Kingdom how you had to change all this stuff. I'm like, where have I heard this before?
Oh yeah, because just like Roger Rabbit, I wanted to have characters pop in, but I didn't really want it to just be like a whole frenzy of guest appearances.
Right.
So at least one or two characters, I guess two characters that would show up, and that was Betty Boop and Minnie Mouse.
Right.
And they were there because they had like a history, so I could like sort of inject like, well, Betty Boop, like we know who Betty Boop is, so Betty Boop will be like what Doris could have become. So that's like her purpose. And then Minnie Mouse, like, well, Minnie Mouse is like just like this the start of like this huge amount of fame where she can gets it on a lot of knowledge from her. So those were easy to put in. Other things I put in just like things that just felt natural, little like hidden vignettes here and there.
Yeah.
And when it came to actually doing a book, because Minnie Mouse and Betty Boop are public domain, but only their first drawings of them.
Right.
Yeah. So since the book like goes back and forth through time, and I'm like, well, then I could put Betty Boop, which Betty Boop is in the comic, but just on a poster, her first design is.
Right.
But I knew that yeah, if I'm going to show like the past and present, I have to use different characters because I can't use their modern designs. And I couldn't show like past Betty Boop and say like, oh, then in modern day she looks completely different because I can't use the one that's actually existing.
It's like we had Betty Boop back then, and now she's a furry.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, I mean, like it's extremely understandable, but the fact that again, like you even had this concept in the first place, and it goes back to what you were thinking of when it came to Roger Rabbit and such, like. What started off as a curiosity about that movie, which is a fantastic movie, obviously, it's a reason why it's a timeless classic for many people up to this day, including yourself, obviously. But like what started off as like just a couple of questions led to this really unique scenario and world that you kind of crafted for months, years, even or whatnot. Like just slowly chipping away at it to the wonderful comic that people can read online, or they can take the time to go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble and buy the complete graphic novel, 294 pages, I should say.
Yeah. It was putting that together, because when I did the comic, when I was posting that, and it started getting a lot of notice, and like it was nice to have Toby come up to me and he's asking, well, what's Doris from? Because everything I've been doing, like known characters. So it was like, is Doris from something? Like, no, Doris is my own thing. And it's like, well, you should do something with Doris. Everyone said like, you should do something with this because it's like your full on character.
Yeah.
And as I was posting the comic and I saw people enjoying it, I started like kind of interacting with the readers, and I saw that Dawn was a character that she would be on like social pages. She would be posting things as she's like walking around Doris, and I thought, I was like, well, it'd be nice if I can actually have people interact with that. So while posting a comic, I made Dawn an Instagram page. I made her a TikTok page, and I started posting things like, oh yeah, this is like Dawn's like official page. And if you read the comic, you can kind of like see the events happening in the comic that are happening on these actual social pages. And a lot grew from that. So from there, it became like answering questions asked the characters. I saw a fan Discord was made.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the fan Discord and like the question pages, that forced me to build a lot more lore into the world, because people were asking like, well, how does this work? Like, what happens if this happens to a character? I was like, okay, like, yeah, this is great, because I can like come up with these reasons that actually feel like they fit into the world that I'm making. And it really started to grow into something that was separate from Roger Rabbit, because there's been like a lot of like sort of those like hybrid projects,
right?
And yeah, the more it went on, it's like, okay, like I can actually start doing a history that dates all the way to like the 1910s, and have like, well, how the cartoons like become like walk around characters, and how are they put together, how are they licensed, what like why is there not like people are asking like, well, like, do web characters exist? It's like, okay, well, like the process of making a character to walk around is like extremely expensive, and you're like making life, and you need to like find rooming for them. Toontown became districts so that people like studios can like keep an eye on their assets. So there's a whole kind of like these like third class citizens of cartoon characters. So there's a lot of aspects on that. It's just like, oh yeah, like they're not really like, cartoons aren't really respected, and they're just like, they're owned by people. And it was the more questions I got, the more they built on it. It became really easy to just line up the idea of this world with like real world, like, like consequence.
Yeah, like it's incredible what started off as a simple doodle that you have of a Toon TV princess evolved into this incredible interactive experience that everyone felt like they were a part of at the end of the day. And then they were, again, like you said, asking the questions, trying to figure out how stuff worked out, which led to you getting the ideas of how stuff worked out, how the story progressed or whatnot. Like that, I imagine that's like any creator's kind of dream at the end of the day, trying to find stuff that people can get on board for and like ask questions and kind of influence like, hey, what about this? What about that? Up to a certain point. Like it's gotta be incredible to know that like your side project, your passion project or whatnot was getting to the point where it was hitting that audience and like really providing a fun little bit of creativity past your own.
It really was. I think when it really hit me was while I was posting the first comics online, I saw someone posted like a side by side of them with the comics, and they were dressed up as Dawn, and just seeing someone actually like take the time to just like cosplay the character,
Right.
that really hit me. Just like, oh wow, like this is like people like these characters. Like that was just like a huge thing to me.
No, absolutely. It does lead me to wonder, because again, you've had this point to where you've had this story, be able to tell hundreds of comics and such when it comes to this. Again, get to the point to where it is now a legit graphic novel that people can purchase right now and like physically have, not just web comic, physical copy, which I made sure to order mine. I gotta wait for it to come in, but I ordered mine. It should be coming in within the next week or so.
All right.
Absolutely. But it does leave me curious. Is there a particular comic or a particular moment or a particular aspect that is your personal favorite when you think about Doris Doodle?
Yeah, it's hard to say, because like when I like actual like comics that I read,
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of like indie kind of comics. There's one that's like Peanut Butter and Jeremy's best book ever, where it's just like a cat and a crow and their little adventures.
Yeah.
So yeah, but along with that, I mean, I also read like or like the comic like Persepolis. So I also like stories that's kind of like go into. I don't do a lot of action sort of comics. I like the ones that are more just drawn into life,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I do a lot more of. Which I mean, that's kind of crazy. As a kid, and even kind of now, I'm still like really into Batman. But
Hey,
but,
Batman's timeless. All right, you can't deny that.
yeah. But like when I think of this, like where I'm drawing from on my own inspiration for these books, it really is less comics and it's more just classic cartoons that I watched.
Okay.
And just putting that into, so yeah, it's like like watching just like old like Betty Boop cartoons, the like just like Fleischer kind of stuff. And even like if you look at the actual book that I put together, I took out a lot of the copyrighted thing, but you'll still see tributes to these characters. There's there's a Chuck Jones tribute in there, and there's like a termite terrace little like hidden Easter egg in there. So yeah, it's really more like history of animation, the 12 Old Men and all of that. That's more of what I'm drawing from.
Yeah, no, I can understand why elements of that are kind of like, I mean, obviously with this thing being like both a fun story, but also like a tribute to those classic.
I got to say, I said 12 old men. I'm thinking like 12 angry men. I meant the 9 old men.
9 old men. There you go.
Yeah, I had to correct myself.
I knew what you meant. I just didn't think about like the proper number or what. I knew what you meant, like the classic Disney animators that kind of made the classics that we all know and love today, like years later or whatnot. But yeah, no, like I can tell that like with this story, but on top of that, like it's definitely a love letter to that classic animation and to just animation as a whole with what you've been able to incorporate with it. And that's the thing that I love and appreciate more than anything else when it came to like me being exposed to this. Again, I figured out about this because of the TikTok, a silly little, take on the fun smile dance that the one, animator did or whatnot. Like, and getting a chance to see the connection that Dawn and Doris have, which is to how they're basically like teasing each other lovingly or whatnot with that. But like with that being like the spark for me, being able to dive in and like seeing their interactions between each other and like, especially like towards the end of it, seeing how much more they kind of relate with each other and how much they love and want to help each other out. Like at the end of the day, like it's something that if you guys have not taken the opportunity to go and read, like I highly encourage it. Like sincerely, like I can see why this is a fantastic thing that's taken years to tell, because like you've taken the time to really craft an incredible story at the end of the day with an incredible atmosphere that, even though it came from an inspiration, I think it's like second to none when it comes to the atmosphere you've kind of just developed.
Well, thank you. I really want to make something that just, I want to make a world that people can feel like they can live in and something that they can identify with, and just something that was comfortable while also just like not being afraid to talk about things that I guess we are afraid to talk about.
Absolutely. And especially again, now that at this point you've told a fantastic story and you've actually gotten the physical book out there into the world, something tells me that like there could potentially be more when it comes to Doris and such. Is there some, like, now that you actually got the graphic novel out there, is there potential ideas of something you may want to do with Doris Doodle? Maybe potentially, I don't know, a feature length film, or, you know, maybe a series, or at least more adventures, seeing how Dawn and Doris are kind of taking on this next step in their life or whatnot?
Oh, well, I will say I am putting together a sequel book that's going to be focused on. So you'll get the story, what happens after, along with maybe some like side stories of just like other characters within the world.
Okay.
But I will say I did try pitching this to studios a while ago.
Okay.
I tried pitching a few ideas to studios. This one, because actually, yeah, like I had conversations. I wrote a pilot script, so there is a pilot script for a series for Doris, and I at the time I had an agent and manager. I don't think they took the script anywhere because I don't think they felt that it could be marketable. And when I actually had a chance to talk to a studio, and this really pushed me to make the book so I can just tell the story I wanted to.
Right.
Because they said that they enjoyed it, but they wanted to change so many things on it because their thought was just like, well, it talks about some dark topics. So either take out what it's talking about or maybe put it in and just be more humorous about it. And if you see shows like Velma, where Velma will like talk about things, but they do it on very mocking, sort of like look at the camera kind of way.
Yeah.
That's a way that I think makes studios more comfortable because they're not really facing it. So my choice was to either have Doris Doodle be like that with what it's talking about, be more like Velma, or to just take out all the conversations that it's trying to bring up and just have it be a straight up comedy that was kind of safe for kids. And after that, I sent them an email saying like, well, I feel like this is the wrong way to take this. And I gave like my explanations why. And after that, I never heard anything back. So that was the end of the conversation. But part of me thinks I sort of feel like I don't think this could ever be made into a film with a studio unless it became like a huge thing that like everyone was talking about. And I think if it got to there, I'd have more of a chance of being able to control what it says, because once it has a following, then it's like, well, yeah, like, can we change this about it? Like, we can't change that because people know the lore of it. Like, yeah, like you can go on with like all the intense lore of Five Nights at Freddy's and not have a studio say like, well, we got to trim that down. Like, we can't trim that down. There's hundreds of videos, people talking about it. They're going to expect this.
Oh yeah. You just said Five Nights at Freddy's alone, and I just had thought of, oh god, if people even start thinking about that lore, oh goodness, we're gonna be here for another 5 hours.
Absolutely. So like I think like that's the only way a studio would take it, or if I just went and did it on my own, which I have thought about because I mean I have a pilot script. And I have done even on like TikTok, I've been doing the sort of the animation style of like Roger Rabbit and figuring that out. And there could be a day where I get it if I get like enough people like actually following this and actually have it become like my main thing, which that would be a dream because I love working at studios. I love working on films. I loved working with Toro. But at the end of the day, I think all of us do realize that we are spending a lot of time making other people's dreams come true.
Yeah.
And yeah, just if I had the option of just like Doris just became like my thing, and it's like, okay, like this is like I have the funding, I can get the voice actors, I can get like the area to film, I would absolutely. I mean, I feel like there is a good possibility like in the future that I can start putting together like a Doris feature or like a Doris just like a pilot episode and get a series going. But yeah, I would love to just get these characters in motion, get them voices, and yeah, just get like a whole show or even like a series of films, just kind of opening up this world to everyone.
I mean, I feel like you're taking at least the steps in the right direction, seeing some of the animations that you have been able to put out there through TikTok and such, but also like, again, with the graphic novel, the fact that you were able to get that thing crowdfunded in less than a week, like fully funded in less than a week, shows, if nothing else, like the loyalty of the fan base that you have at the end of the day. So like, I feel like it's gotta be just a matter of time before people get to see more of this. And even then, like if it has to be you that has to go out and tell that story, in my personal opinion, it's probably a better time than ever nowadays with how much indie animation has been a lot more coveted and a lot more beloved, and people are more than willing to put out feelers and put out, things to be like, hey, this looks like a great idea. Let's make this a reality or whatnot. Like, the potential could be there at the end of the day. And I sincerely hope that whether it be through the studios or on your own terms, whenever you're able to craft that story, like I would love to see this in one form or fashion, like brought to life, like full on, again, like, I want to see it drawn the way you've had it envisioned at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very possible seeing things like Digital Circus and how just like the popularity of those and going to theaters and knowing that that's indie. And when you go to a studio and pitch to them, and more than once I got the comment of, well, it's too dark, we don't like that, or the very popular comment was, we're disappointed that you're trying to sell us an original story. So So I feel like,
what? I'm disappointed that you're trying to tell us an original story. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that this was the case.
Oh yeah. So seeing this like indie, so like I more and more feel like indie seems like the way to go if you want to tell the story your way and tell something new. Because studios, I mean, right now we're seeing, I don't know if it's going to change every now and then. I think it's going to change, but it always goes the same way. But
right
now we're seeing like all these original films coming out and like new directors, and they're doing great. And we're seeing the studios at places that I've talked to that have told me like, well, we're disappointed that you're giving us this original thing. And I'm seeing them like bring out their intellectual property, their characters again. And we're seeing those just failing.
Yeah.
Because it's all that they've been putting out. It's all that we've been seeing. And for a long time, I think we've all been asked like, either something new or just like something done in like a new sort of way, just like new. This is what we want. We want like a new kind of vision, and
we just want that fresh coat of paint.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think where I see all these like indie things coming along, I think Doris Doodle has like a very good chance if I go the indie route of just like being made the way that I want it, having the voice that I want, and just being a story that I think a lot of people would love.
Absolutely. And hey, if you're looking for like maybe side characters, or maybe, if you need someone to dress up in the blue shirt to get slapped by Doris or whatnot, or if you need someone to voice the doorbell or something like that, have Mike Will Travel. I would love to help out, bring a voice in some form or fashion.
Someday I like put up auditions and just asking, just like see how that goes. Just
there you go.
Looking for Doris and Don and all the other characters.
There you go. And even if it's something as simple as a comic dub, like getting that at least out there in the first place, that'd be a really cool thing to see at the end of the day. Like really seeing how these characters. Yeah, like I mean, you already, the material is there. It's all there for you to. All you just need is the voices at the end of the day.
There was a time when I was like posting online when I was trying to get a pilot going and wanted to get someone attached, and studio said like once like, well, it'd be a lot. Actually, no, like the agent said like it'd be more helpful if you had a talent like someone famous attached to this.
Right.
And for me, famous is voice actor. For them, famous is big.
Basically, and now Doris Doodle's being voiced by Chris Pratt. That's what they were hoping for.
So when they said that, I was online just like trying to say like, how do I get in contact with Dee Dee Magno, who voiced Pearl in the universe? And I was just like, oh, like that's where I want. And I would bring that up to them, and they'd say like, who's Dee Dee Magno? Like, she's a voice actor. Like, it's amazing. Her voice would be perfect. And I kept telling like, well, no, that's not what we mean by celebrity. And I told them like, well, that's a celebrity.
Yeah, so, that's a big name, especially for people that love animation and such. And especially like you said, that's Pearl. The voice of Pearl on Doris Doodle, that's mind blown perfect. That is a perfect casting right there.
Yeah, like that would have been amazing. But yeah, they were just like, no, like we're kind of like I forget who. I think who did they say? I think they were saying like Bette Midler.
Oh, okay.
And my thought with Bette Midler, like I said like, well, like can't she voice act? Because I think I've only like heard her on The Simpsons, and I thought like, well, I know Dee Dee Magno can, but like the idea is like, well, like I would like to see how she sounds, but their thought was like, well, no, like you just get Bette Midler, and you know, like we can't like ask for like her to like do an audition kind of thing. So, and that just felt like dangerous to me because like, well,
Yeah.
like like she could be good, but I really want to like just hear her how she is in a yeah, like in a voice booth
Right.
rather than like on set. Like because yeah, being on set and being in a booth is very different.
Yeah, and obviously that's no the farthest thing from any disrespect to Betty Miller and like what she's able to do. She's obviously a fantastic actress, but like we've definitely seen scenarios in Hollywood or whatnot to where you get like the people that are great on stage into a voice booth, and it's a literal coin toss of whether or not it's going to be something you want to listen to for 75, 90 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yes, and there's also an aspect that I told them. I felt it would be best to have all the cartoon characters voiced by voice actors.
Yeah.
And if you wanted like famous like people, famous faces, have them be the faces. So my thought was like, yeah, like you get Dee Dee Magno to play Doris. You know, we get like Grey Delisle and like Tara Strong, people like that, and then have like Doris's like new agent Harold could be like John Hamm. So just like you have a name. So that was my thought. That's especially because I think they want a name to put on the poster, but to me it's like, well, I'd have the voice actor, and then you would have a face along with the name to put on to the poster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It was a lot of hard discussions, and I got a lot of pushback on what I wanted, so it never went anywhere.
Also, you're describing this more and more. It's like, you have the voice actors actually voicing the characters, but then the big name celebrities are the ones you see alongside. Where have I seen that as of lately? I don't know. Anyways, are you gonna check out that Coyote versus Acme? It looks like a really interesting. No, but like I can see, obviously, like, as someone that loves and appreciates animation like myself, like I see the vision that you would have when it comes to that. It'd be really cool again to see something like that, more than anything else, like having that the hybrid live action 2D, because that's what the basis of the comic is in the first place anyway. Like having that to the potential to where like you can have Doris be the literal top billing alongside a John Hamm or a J.K. Simmons or something along the lines of that,
Yeah.
So,
and there were enough like live action characters that I think like, yeah, you can have like a major star and they're alongside it and have like the voice actors. I felt like we could both get what we want on
exactly. But studio's gonna be weird. But at the end of the day, like, it's good to hear that there's at least there's still a love and there's still creativity coming out when it comes to Doris and stuff, because you said on top of potentially making that pilot, a sequel book is in the works. I think a lot of people, if they are not already excited, they definitely should be excited, because with what you've been able to tell with that first story alone leaves a lot to the imagination with what's next at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I definitely have I do have a plan for at least 3 more stories with Doris and Don. Okay. And there are side characters that have come up, and I'm really excited to tell their stories because they're characters that people have seen and they don't know, like, oh yeah, like that character, like, oh, I can't wait to get to that. That's going to be like a really crazy story. That one's like the most tragic story, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, you got
there's a lot of like that things.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of a hurry up and wait, as in, like, as much as you'd love to tell that story, you got to tell the other stories that lead up to that point.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I mean, even then, seeing kind of what you've been able to do with this, and especially the reception of it more than anything else, but even taking like a further step back, thinking to this entire art journey that you've been able to have as a whole, like from when you were young, just playing with like clay and Play-Doh and such, to here you are right now, like getting a chance to do that on a professional level while also telling these incredible stories and such. Does it amaze you, or is it at least surreal to think how far you've been able to develop as an artist?
It's something where I need to sort of sit back and look at how it's gone for it to like really hit me.
Yeah.
Because like usually I'm just like in the thick of it, just like trying to come up with something. But every now and then I will just like look at the journey that I made, and because it's like there's still like a long way that I want to get to, just like trying to do like a feature of these characters and other projects. But just knowing that, I mean, from a kid that was watching animated films, they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And now I'm in a place where like, yeah, like I've worked on features and I've been at studios and met directors and even like had chances to go and pitch ideas to studios. And now I have my own characters out there that actually have like a following and like a fan base that's growing. That's yeah, it feels like a huge step.
Yeah, no, I trust me, I'm right there. I could only dream of having an opportunity of having characters out there that people would love and attach to or whatnot. I'm currently in the process myself of trying to get my ideas together for a potential like series or concept that I want to push out there into the world. I'm still in the very, very, very early like, you know, development phase of trying to think like how I want the story to go before I actually like get the official story down or whatnot. But like, I know for me, these are characters that I've been stewing on for a while at this point, and I can only hope that whenever I put it out there that like it can connect with an audience and like really, sorry, you almost hit my little notebook right here. No, but it's like, I can only imagine like whenever I get a chance to get it out there, like how many people could probably connect with the characters that I have in mind and such, and like hopefully it reaches like an audience of some sort. So I for you hearing that like you've gotten to that point, you've made these characters that again like what start off as a simple doodle, here they are like years. You know, I see the irony of, or I see the pun that I accidentally made right there. What started off as a doodle became Doris Doodle, but like seeing how much they connected to an audience or whatnot, like yeah, that's what any creator can kind of hope for at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And just like when you're first creating, because I mean, it's something where I never really wanted to try and make something that I was hoping people would like. It's more just I'm trying to make something that I would like always. And I feel like that's really the key. Just make something, just entertain yourself. And I think if you can entertain yourself, there's definitely going to be other people that are also entertained by it.
Absolutely. Trust me, the characters that I've been bringing in my mind. Again, I actually made a college film. That's the inspiration from it. Like, because I went to school for filmmaking, just general filmmaking in general. And like I made a short with the characters I have in mind, and I'm trying to like mold them into something a little bit slightly different, but like still that same enticing idea. It has to do with shape shifting, if that helps you out more than anything else when it comes to like it's literally this, the main character is randomly just given the ability to shape shift and does not know how to control it, because it's not standard like let me be a puppy turns into a puppy. That's not how it works. It's like you have to think of like descriptors or like moods and vibes in order to become the thing that you want to be at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that does sound fun. So yeah, I'm interested.
No, good. I appreciate that. I'll tell you what, I'll keep you in the loop as I get more done at the end of the day.
All right.
But for this next question, if I may, obviously we've been talking about the stuff you have been able to do and the stuff you hope to continue to do. So for this next question, if I may, what if we go a little above and beyond, Hasani? And I give you more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am big shot Mr. Moneybags. I come to you and like, look, Hasani, we know you've gotten some incredible stuff here. We've read the comics. We've seen your animations that you've been able to do and such. We know you are a creative gold mine just waiting to be mined or whatnot. And you just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point at the end of the day. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be making sure that a lot more animators can actually work on a living wage or whatnot, be able to, you know, have health insurance, all that kind of stuff. Hashtag Stand With Animation forever and always. But right now we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Hasani Walker project?
Oh, I know exactly what it would be.
Okay, let's go.
So, some people will actually kind of know this. Years ago, I made a sort of a short children's book that I sold online. You can still like see a promo on my YouTube page.
Okay.
But it's called Broken Down Ballerina.
Okay.
And that's a story that while I was on Pinocchio, I tried pitching to studios. I spent 3 years. I have over 100 concept images that I made for it.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's essentially it's like a diverse Night Before Christmas. But the way that I described it is that it's the Nutcracker meets Dante's Inferno.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and it's a story of a ballerina going through different levels of a toy store to get back the love of her life, who was taken by rats that live in the basement.
Oh,
and
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was a full on musical. It was meant to be like this dark, very like nightmare sort of style, almost like Moulin Rouge. Mm-hmm. And this is when I got representation. I had an agent and I had a manager, and we were pitching this, and this was sort of like, this is a story that I want to tell.
Right.
And it went to so many strange places because I would have I would talk to other producers and the changes they'd want to make, and I was like determined. And I got some producers like upset with me because there were some that were saying like, well, no, like it's just like the title's kind of dark, like broken's a negative word. Can you change that? And another thing was we want kids to go in happy watching this. We want them to feel happy and then leave happy. And it's like, well, I want an older audience. I'm going for a horror line. Yeah. And when I left like those producer ideas and I just went in with my own, we came so close to actually, like, we went to a studio.
Mm-hmm.
They were excited. The story department heard what they were like. I remember the person that had a story. I just told her like what I told you, like it's Dante, it's not Nutcracker, it's Dante's Inferno, and she's like, well, I want that. And I would go over the story. She loved the story. There was a lot of fun back and forth of me getting emails like, okay, like they want to show it to this person's story. Can you send them the pitch deck that you had, and what kind of music are you seeing for this? Who do you see voicing these characters?
Right.
And it just felt like, yeah, this feels good. Like they're really interested in this.
Right.
The weekend Pinocchio won the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
The Friday before, I got an email from the person in the story who said like she loves the characters, she loves where it was going, and she said their name, she knew the story. She was like, I was surprised because a lot of times you pitch, they don't even read it. So it's like, okay, so you read this thing.
Right.
But then he said, we sent it to the higher ups and they're disappointed that you pitched us an original story. So we're going to have to pass on it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
After that, it all fell apart. Like my reps kind of like, well, we don't know where else to take this. Cause my thought was, well, let's take this to like A24. Let's take this to like more of an indie place. But They wanted to just go the higher places. And when that avenue didn't work out, they were like, well, no, like we don't know where else to take this. So they like they disconnected from me and I was just on my own again. And after that, like I still constantly think about Broken Down Ballerina, and I have like a flash drive with all the artwork on it. I still talk to the writer that they teamed me up with it, and she was like the nicest person. So we still go on about it. If you look at in the Doris Doodle book, when Dawn goes when Doris goes into Dawn's apartment and looks at her posters, you will see a Broken Down Ballerina poster, and that is the cover of the pitch deck that we were showing around. But yeah, so like that's a story that like I still like. I love the story. I'm still really into it, and I will say that it's one thing that since as a film it would be like a huge undertaking because it was either going to be stop motion or CG, but either way it was going to be like a huge sort of spectacle.
Right.
And now I am kind of thinking like, well, I couldn't get a film made or like a short series just like Doris, but like Doris, I could probably do a book.
Right.
So I am sort of thinking like maybe I can still build the puppets, build like some sets, do photographs, and actually get the story out there in a book because I do want to get that story out there somehow. But yeah, if I had all the resources, I would make that film.
No, absolutely. And look, if there are any smaller studios out there that are listening to this and are willing to put up the money in order for Hasani to make this A24, I'm looking at you in particular or whatnot, like make this thing a reality. This sounds cool. Like like obviously the intensity that you would have with like Dante's Inferno or whatnot, but also with like the unique visuals that you would have with like the Nutcracker, like the blending of the two, seeing how, the Broken Down Ballerina is going to like struggle through all the different paths or whatnot and like try to get to that. I am so mad at the person that said I'm disappointed in that you gave us an original idea. How dare they? Ooh.
It feels good to see like that people would have loved it because I remember there was another time when I pitched, like I gave a talk to a friend's a coworker. She was teaching a class and then she was like doing a segment like, well, how do you pitch to a film? And she asked like, well, would you share the pitch with it? And it's like, yeah, I'll do the whole pitch. I'll do the image because I did a pitch like I felt like Disney pitching Snow White because I had the whole story laid out
Right.
along with the writer. So we would like go back and forth, like reading parts of the story. And in every segment, I had artwork to go with the story.
Right.
So, yeah, so I pitched it to this class. I showed them the whole pitch. I gave them the whole storyline. And afterwards, someone asked, like, well, what happened to it? And I told them the whole, like, well, like they were disappointed with the story. And the sound from the class of disappointment from that.
Yes.
They're just like, oh yeah, they would have loved it. Like, yes, this would have been something. Like this would have been
something incredible.
Yeah, because my dream was to have something that could have become like a Broadway play at some point. Because that's where we were kind of going with it.
Yes, like a full-on anime, like even having like the original concept. Like if we're going to the film or the short series, like basically having the basis of a Broadway play in animated form. That's perfect. That's brilliant. It's not the first time that something like that's happened. Lion King is a major success on Broadway for a reason. You know? Like, I need to take a breath because I'm getting mad at these studios for you.
Yeah, when it was rejected, like that was such a huge loss for me because it's a story that like I loved so much. I still love. Yeah, I still like, I look at it, I still think of it, I still draw images of these characters, and yeah, it's something that like I have not given up on. And I remember the writer, it's Sarah Cho, who I worked with. That's who my agents paired me up with, and she was the one that we talked back and forth and worked on developing the story.
Mm-hmm.
She got the Doors book, and she read it. And she said like, oh, like I teared up when I saw that poster in Dawn's room, just looking down. Yeah, because we were so close to that story.
Look, I don't care if it's just the dream or whatnot. Like, it is a crime that no one out there has made that reality. It needs to be done. It needs. I'm telling the world, I'm manifesting this for you. It needs to be done at the end of the day.
I'm hoping someday because I'm not going to quit. I have that flash drive. I keep the pitch on my iPad, so if I ever have like an opportunity and it's like, oh, like, do you have any ideas? Like, yes, I have this one. Here are all the images and the whole story is out, the characters. Like, we got everything. It's like we made the film, but we didn't film it. That's what it feels like.
Absolutely. Like, God, that hurts. I feel bad for you, but I know with the determination you've had up to this point, you're not giving up on it, and that's what makes me excited for it because I hope I get a chance to see it at some point.
I'm.
Yeah, good. But sadly, we do got to get down from that dream scenario. We have to get back to reality. And I'll ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
5 or 10 years from now, honestly, directing Broken Down Ballerina.
That's a good start.
Yeah. But otherwise, 5 or 10 years from now, I hope to see myself just working on my own projects and being able to just like fund my life with my projects. Because like I said, I love working with studios. I loved working with Guillermo, like being at LAIKA was great. But just if I could be in a position where it's like, what do I do for a living? I make my own dreams reality. Right. That's what I would love. Even if it's just like just doing them through books or just like a YouTube series, just something where like the job that I have is just telling my own stories and making my dreams come true.
Absolutely. That's always a good thing to aspire for at the end of the day. Especially in this field that you've been putting your entire life into. That's always something to aspire for.
Absolutely.
As we start to wind down the interview, I just got one last question I want to ask you, Hasani. Obviously, like we've established that this entire thing, you are deeply entrenched in art. Like, there is nothing that's going to take you away from it, from the early days of just messing with clay and such and loving animation to here you are right now, coming up with just incredible concepts that people just don't understand how good they are. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
I think it's extremely important. It's like, it's something that helps us communicate with each other. I mean, it sort of like, I would say that it goes beyond language, or it pretty much is a language.
Mm-hmm.
Just like watching film from another country and just being able to just like relate to people just like from the other sides of the world and just being able to share emotions. And that's what I think art really is. It's just like you're sharing your mind, you're sharing your emotions. You have a thought in your head, and you can just bring it out in any kind of way. You can bring it out through drawing, you can bring it out through music, you can bring it out through cooking, you can bring it out through just like, I mean, architecture, written word, just any way you can express yourself. And it's undefinable. It's you. It's a part of you that you're bringing out into the world. And I think there's something incredible about being able to just share visions that we have with each other.
Absolutely. I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
Hasani, that is all the questions I have for you. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise at this point, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want. No, like I said, whenever I first even asked you to be on this podcast, I was just simply enamored with, Doris and Dawn, like the adventures that you had, going through there or whatnot. Like that alone had me excited to want to bring you on and talk about that kind of stuff because I could tell that there was a genuine love and appreciation for animation and the classic styles or whatnot and what you wanted to present. And I was so interested in that. Whenever I actually got a chance to ask you to be on the podcast, and it was specifically when you sent me the friend request on Discord. And I saw your description talk about how you worked with, LAIKA, Nickelodeon, all this kind of stuff. It kind of hit me how much, how talented of an artist you truly were, especially getting the chance to really dive into more of your stuff past the comics and such, to see all the things you've been able to have a hand in and help out in one form or fashion. Like it's incredible to know that love for animation, that drive and determination that you've had ever since you were a kid has led you to some incredible opportunities in one form or fashion. Opportunities that I imagine there are some that are trying to be in similar shoes as you. They can only dream about having. The fact that you've got to have a hand in some incredible projects in one form or fashion. The fact that you've been able to express yourself with some of these incredible web comics and such. And the fact that you have so much ready to unleash into the world at this point when it comes to some of the cool ideas that you have, it just makes me excited for whatever you're going to be doing next, whether you are helping someone else out with their dreams or whether you're getting the opportunity to finally have those dreams of yours being unleashed onto the world in the way that you envision it at the end of the day. Like, you are truly, honestly, one of the most gifted and talented people I've been able to bring on this podcast, just hearing your story alone. And it makes me so excited for whatever's going to be happening next, no matter what it may be. So at the end of the day, Hasani, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there like you have, because I know, especially when it comes to telling some of these stories or whatnot, it's not easy. Even if you're just free writing it or whatnot, it's not easy to get it out there, and especially for people to see it and latch onto it or whatnot. But the fact that you clearly have a lot of fun with this and are enjoying what you're putting out there at the end of the day, just know that I'm one of several people, and hopefully many, many more at the end of the day, that's going to be rooting for you every single step of the way with what you're going to be doing next. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful to hear. And yes, I hope a lot more is coming in the future. Oh,
I something tells me a lot more is going to be coming in the future, especially with, again, the drive and determination you've been able to have up until this point, more than anything else. Now, if people want to know more about all the stuff that I've been gushing about you for the past, I don't know, hour, 2 hours that we've been chatting or whatnot, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home. Where can people find more about you and what you got going on?
All right. Well, if you want to see more of my personal work, you can go to HasaniStudios.com. That's a website I've had for a long time, but you can see all my sculptures, you can see sketches, links to comics, and more on Doris Doodle. You can go to DorisDoodle.com, and you can find out more about their worlds. You can see more of the characters, and you can buy the book. And yeah, you can, I think there should be a link to the Discord, but yeah, if you go to those two sites, you can find my social pages, Don and Doris's social pages, and you can follow us. You can follow all of us.
And I'll be sure to have those links and then some in the description below. In fact, that first link is going to be a link to the Doris Doodle book. All right, like, people, you guys need to buy this stuff. You need to showcase to the studios out there that they're missing out on some incredible concepts at the end of the day. All right, we need this stuff to catch like wildfire, so that Hasani can make stuff like, Broken Down Ballerina. All right, like that alone needs to be a reality that everyone is missing out on at this point. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
I guess if I were having final words to anyone out there listening, is stay creative and don't give up on what you're trying to do. Just in terms of like trying to build, trying to tell stories, trying to create artwork, and yeah, it's honestly, it's never too late to get into any kind of creative field. And yeah, even when you think time might be running out, just keep on going, because the one person who should never give up on what you want to do is yourself.
Absolutely. And especially in today's age where it's very easy to be discouraged when you see, some of these young directors being able to put their stuff out there with like Obsession and Backrooms and such. Like, people can instantly see like their ages and be like, oh, I'm done. But no, like there are people out there to where that's clearly not the case. So you can see that. I mean, we talked about this, in the pre-interview section or whatnot, but you didn't even get your first job in the industry till you were in your 30s or whatnot, which
not until my mid 30s.
Yeah. Like
going.
Yeah. And I'm glad you've kept going, and I can't wait to see where you're going to be going from here on out.
Oh, thank you. I have no plans of stopping. It's
good.
There's I got to talk to Don Bluth when I was in college. Yeah. And he made a comment, before giving a talk. He's like, when you're in a creative field, you can never retire. And it's like, what does that mean? It's like, because like you're always going to want to create something. You're always going to be in that mode. So you're never going to really retire. And I can even see that with like Rick Baker, who retired from doing effects makeup.
Right.
He's still doing makeup because it's loves to do. So you never really truly retire.
Exactly. With that, all I have left to say is, for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Absolutely.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, pick me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I greatly do appreciate it. Like I said in the intro, the conversation that I thought I was going to have with Hasani compared to the conversation we eventually had, almost like night and day. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to have this conversation. Hasani, sincerely, if you've gotten up to this point, thank you so much for taking the time to even do this in the first place. You are a fantastic person to chat with, and I cannot wait sincerely for what you got going on next. I mean, you guys heard what Hasani had to talk about and all the ideas that he was able to get out there, or the ideas that got rejected or whatnot. There was some cool stuff that he's got going on. Like, genuinely. It just further amazes me the amount of creativity that people have. And it's creativity like that has turned around and inspired me as well. I've chatted about it here and there and such, but I'm currently in the process of trying to get my own series, my own concept out there in one form or fashion. It's a concept I've had since college, but I want to give you guys more whenever I have something more solidified. Although, I mean, if you follow me on Blue Sky, you should know what I'm talking about, because I posted at least the original college short film that the series will be based on. But, it's conversations like this one. It's the ideas and the art and the inspiration stuff. It's being exposed to the media, like, the final episode of The Amazing Digital Circus, and the book Doris Doodle, which, by the way, I did get in. I forgot to mention that beforehand or whatnot. I know I said I was going to get it in, but I got it in. Oh my God, the story is so incredible. It's got the highs and lows. It really tells a truly, like, almost sinister tale in a nice, beautiful, classic vibe or whatnot. Sincerely, like, the link's gonna be in the description below. Please do yourself a favor and buy Doris Doodle. But even then, like, getting myself exposed to stuff like that, as well as these incredible conversations, I keep encouraging you guys of going out there and making the thing that you want. Well, maybe I should take my own advice and get something out there that I can be proud of. more than anything else. I hope you guys really love the story that I get to tell. I hope you guys enjoy the characters I'm bringing forth, and the concept itself should be a fun concept. And I hope you guys also take that step, take that initiative yourself, and try to tell that vision, try to tell that concept, try to tell that story. Let your creativity flow. Because especially in today's day and age where it seems like every single creative outlet is trying everything they can to suppress any sort of human interaction whatsoever, we need those human stories. We need that human passion. We need the humanity that comes with the creativity. Bring that forth. Put it out there. Let people know and love what you got, because I can tell you right now, you'd be surprised how many people are just hungry for that story that you have, that you've been sitting on, that you've been waiting more than anything else. It needs to be told. Let your creativity flow.